Welcome back. My name is Chris.
My name's Madison.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, this time covering The Mummy from 1999 as voted by the patrons for the April The Tomb is Empty poll.
The tomb is empty. We had to have a poll on movies where a tomb would be emptied by the end of the movie, theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or everything was smushed.
Yeah, for sure.
The tomb itself was gone, I think, even, you could say. One could argue. Well, unless you saw the sequels. Things get hairy.
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
A little bit.
If you've never listened to the show before, weird that you...
Well, you would sign up for the Patreon and listen to this episode.
But good on you for just knowing what you want. Blind buy.
Jumping right in. I love it.
We call that a blind buy. Though they might see an advertisement of us covering The Mummy and love this movie so much that they just have to sign right up just to hear.
Yeah.
Just to see what's up.
Because a lot of people love this movie. This is kind of I don't know, would you call it a cult classic or is it mainstream? Is the love for this movie mainstream enough to just call it just a fan favorite?
I just think it's a fan favorite. I don't know if I'd call it. Well, what classifies as a cult classic?
Well, because I remember a time in like the early 2000s, because this movie came out in 1999, but I remember a time in the early 2000s where it was almost fun to make fun of this movie. Like it wasn't cool to like The Mummy.
Interesting.
I mean, everyone was wrong because this movie slaps dick, but like... but I do remember that, like, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. I like real movies like, I don't know, Match Point.
Oh, no.
Like, I don't know.
Oh, no.
Rollerball?
Yeah.
Two movies I've not heard of or seen.
Oh, Rollerball.
So, they were
just goes to show how well this movie's aged.
Chris and I went very different directions for our show.
Yeah. We have all the bases covered now.
Yeah.
Well, this movie made $416.4 million worldwide.
Yeah, it did.
Against a production budget of $80 million. Let me do a quick Googs real quick, just because we got to. If you ever talked about movies online, then you guys know you need to adjust for inflation or people will turn their ears off, right?
You do. Mm-hmm. And also, what did you say the budget was for this movie?
80 million.
80 million. So multiply that by 2. That's probably the marketing budget as well. So like 160 million total.
Yeah. So it'd be it's like 700 and something million now. Because $1 in 1999 is worth 181 today, so almost doubled.
Wow!
Very successful movie, and Brendan Fraser was cast in this movie because of his success in George in the Jungle.
Yeah, which they weren't anticipating being like very big. I think that's where I read.
Yeah, George of the Jungle. George. Either this movie or George of the Jungle, depending on your point of view. Those are the two movies that people point to and say that is the best Brendan Fraser movie.
It's definitely this movie.
Well, it depends on when you think of Brendan Fraser, are you thinking of the cool, quippy action hero Brendan Fraser, or do you think of the himbo Brendan Fraser from the 90s, which that George of the Jungle is the perfect encapsulation of that?
I can't remember where my first exposure to Brendan Fraser was, but when I think of him, I think of the Mummy franchise immediately.
Seminal. I mean, I watched Airheads. I was going to say Airheads.
Oh, okay.
It was on Comedy Central all the time as a kid, like right after Police Academy 4. It would you'd still be sitting there with your Cheetos.
Is Airheads the one where they're a rock band that take over the radio station and like play our demos or we'll kill everybody?
With Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler. I ain't farting on no snare drum.
Yep. I just watched that for this show, I think, last year for the first time. Yeah.
Did we watch Airheads?
I talked about it on Crossing Streams because I think you talked about it and I had never heard of it before. So I sought it out and it was on HBO Max at the time.
Yeah, I just stayed watching Comedy Central as a kid. But I think The Mummy, and this is great that we're doing this now because there's the Brendan Fraser Renaissance, right?
Renaissance.
Is that what
Not
it is?
to correct you, but.
Oh, that makes way more sense because it's Ren.
Yeah.
Renaissance.
You can't just assance whatever. I get it.
Croissants.
You can.
We're all living the Croissants right now.
Yes.
The McConaissance. That's how it started.
Yeah.
It was the first assance, other than the actual.
Other than the
Renaissance. Big fan. So let's talk about our overall thoughts on The Mummy 1999, your previous experience with the film. Madison, welcome back, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for...
You were much missed. We got a lot of death threats and angry emails. Where is Madison?
I called him off when I got back. I said, "Listen, guys, it's okay."
Oh, you hired them initially?
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate doing that. The bomb threats at my apartment were getting really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you didn't need to worry.
I got swatted 6 times since you were here last.
I mean, I told them they could if they wanted to. Yeah.
You left it open. So what is your experience with The Mummy 1999, not the Tom Cruise version?
Yeah, I didn't know there was a Tom Cruise version until
it exists.
Dove into this. Yeah. But my experience with this movie, I forget when I first watched it or like was first exposed to it, because I also want to bring attention to the fact that this movie is classified as a horror film.
It's not a horror film.
Right, which was really weird when I was kind of diving into it. I mean, I can see maybe for the time it was classified as that, but I remember being really young when I was exposed to this movie, maybe 5 or 6 years old. And I have vivid memory of, so my dad, when I was younger, had, his whole movie theater set up in the basement. He had like a bookshelf of nothing but like records, CDs, VHS tapes.
My kind of guy.
Yeah, and all in alphabetical order. And I remember,
my kind of guy.
Yeah. And that's why I am the way that I am, and my notes look crazy like they do. But I remember like when I was really little, I would like pick out the VHS tapes and look at the front cover art and stuff like that. And when you're younger, you go through those phases of watching movies over and over and over until you're like over with it. And The Mummy was one of those movies that I remember vividly watching over and over and over. I just remember it being very witty, charming. I loved the action, adventure, like inner archaeologist, treasure hunting trope, just all of that kind of encapsulated in this movie. And then you throw on like the supernatural. Excuse me, choking on my words.
That's okay. The Mummy, let it out. Let your emotions come through.
The Mummy is taking over my body. But yeah, and I loved the slow burn romance between Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. It's just a really fun, awesome movie. It's by no means like one of those major cinematic, I don't know.
Touchstones.
But it's one of those movies that you can revert back to, and it's very nostalgic, and it has a very memorable impression on you, I feel like, when you watch it. So.
Right on.
Yeah.
Mr. Steve.
Mr. Chris.
Chris-assance.
Yeah, you can't Mr. Chris.
Right, the Chris-assance. I know I saw this movie in the theaters, and it was one of those movies that, one of the first, because we got our DVD player in around 1999, 2000. So it was one of our first DVDs we had. I think the first 2 DVDs we bought in our household was The Matrix and Saving Private Ryan, because of course. But The Mummy was...
Gotta get those bonus features.
Right. And I remember the DVD case for The Mummy. It was one of those mummy cases DVD cases that drove me nuts. It was the
snappy ones?
The cardboard front with the plastic snap.
Yep.
I hated
I knew
it
was
so
going to be a
much.
snappy
Fucking
one.
work.
Give me
Worse.
clamshells or give me death.
You
all right?
better work, bitch.
Breaking fingernails.
Hell yeah. But like Madison, this is one of those movies that got a lot of rotation around that time of my life.
Like Madison?
Like Madison's experience. Jesus Christ. I watched this movie a lot as a youth, like Madison.
Damn, girl.
I'm not, no.
Don't nux that.
I'm not nuxing you for
that. Because, this movie is really, really fun. It has that Indiana Jones vibe while not being a complete Indiana Jones ripoff.
Yeah.
It's got such a fun cast of characters. Like literally every character is fun in their own right. The writing is surprisingly good in terms of like jokes, but also how they set up things and pay them off later on. And for the time, the effects were really good. I mean, they are dated now. Like if you watch it now, there's some effects where you're like, ooh, that looks bad. Particularly the skies. There are some really bad CGI skies in this.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mummy itself, like the dead CGI monster that's walking around is like really good, especially for the time. And it holds up for the most part. And the cast is amazing. Like I mentioned before, it's just overall just a fun little romp. Like I feel like I should wear a romper when watching this movie because it is that much of a romp.
It's hard to pee though.
It is. You have to zip all the way down and shuffle your arms out of it to get the full effect. Yeah. This guy knows. This guy romps.
Momper. Man romper.
Is that what they call it? A momper?
I don't think so. There's something like that.
I don't know. This is millennial lingo for me. I don't dive into the romp territory.
You're too busy on your rotations.
Yes.
I gotta echo you guys. Twister.
All fours.
I hardly know her.
All fours. On rotation.
This movie's amazing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think it does get its due nowadays, right? Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't call it a cult classic because it was very successful when it came out, but I think people have appreciated it less guiltily over time, as they should.
Yeah, it's like okay to say you love this movie now.
Yes, and I think I'm trying to say, I don't know if this is a hot take or if I'm even able to get this thought out of my brain, but like you would say that Raiders of the Lost Ark is heralded. Just simply, I think it's because it's Steven Spielberg is the difference there. But like, what a great action adventure movie, one of the best movies ever made, classic.
Raiders?
Raiders.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think this is every bit as good as Raiders. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
Me.
Yeah,
I think there's nothing different, but like they're both like so well executed and so effective in doing the action adventure thing. I actually like this movie a lot more, but that's probably because of my age. It's like whatever movie I discovered first, right? I was a 10 or 11 when The Mummy came out. So I was prime age to be like, fuck yeah, which I did. And I was like, I would say that when no one was looking.
Fuck yeah.
I was telling you before we started recording, like my mom bought me one of those like a bolt action rifle. Like it was actual.
Like the toys?
It was an actual, It was an actual wooden one with like a fake bullet in the chamber.
Yeah.
And I would lay on my carpet and rewatch this VHS over and over and over and like shoot the zombie.
The scene when they're doing the bolt action in the beginning.
Even the very beginning, like I was just living the dream. And I had like 2 little pistols in because he had all the guns.
I need a picture of this.
Very few pictures of my childhood survive due to my early adult choices, but yeah, it was a fun time for me. I was obsessed with this movie. Everyone in this movie is attractive. Somebody wrote in, I think, to our Instagram and said, The Mummy 1999 is my sexual orientation.
Yes.
100% agree.
Yeah.
100%. I had such a crush on Rachel Weisz.
Oh
Same.
man, I have such a crush on Oded Fair. Like that dude is an attractive man.
It's
Yes.
true. It's true.
This entire cast is just hot.
I was
Brendan
obsessed
Fraser,
with all of these people. Yeah.
Himbo to the max.
Like later on in life.
Even Arnold Vosloo, ooh, baby.
Oh, for sure.
Looking like a snack
For
running around
sure.
in that chainmail booty shorts at the end.
Even when his skin wasn't fully on, I was like, wow.
I didn't hate
man.
it. And what his mouth can do, I can only
Imagine.
imagine. He can unhinge that jaw. It's not even CGI.
No,
I
that's-
Googled it.
That's just Arnold Vosloo himself.
As a kid, I thought Imhotep and I forget the guy's name. I just call him the Magi. I never learned his name.
Oded Fair. The character name?
character
Yeah, the
name.
character name.
It's Ardith Bay.
Ardith Bay, the guy with the face tats, right?
Yeah.
I thought they were the same person.
Oh, really?
Because I was an idiot. I'm just saying, that's how dumb of a kid I was. Like, it's the same guy. Just put face tats and a wig on him.
Dude, he just shaved his head for some scenes.
I mean, you say that like that doesn't happen all the time in other movies.
Oh, it does happen all
like
the time.
Jumanji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Literally, Jonathan Hyde, who's in this movie, plays 2 characters in Jumanji.
happens all the time.
Yeah.
Or Rachel Weisz in her new show Dead Ringers plays twin sisters, and that show's pretty incredible, by the way. If you haven't checked that out, it's a David Cronenberg remake. But
wow.
Anyway, all that is to say,
The Bird?
I knew this movie would win when we put it on the poll
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
for the two. I mean, what was it, like 80% or something crazy?
Yeah, it was a pretty landslide victory.
And I was so
I
ready for
appreciate
it.
the 2 people who voted for Donnie Darko. I see you. I appreciate you guys. You weren't surviving this storm.
Slightly upset that Laura Croft Tomb Raider didn't win. Laura as in
Laura.
yeah.
We were gonna have to make that movie. Like,
Yeah.
what's it, like? Be kind. What do they call it? A Swede.
Be Kind Rewind.
We were gonna have to Swede it. Yeah. We spelled it wrong. But yeah, seminal part of my childhood. Adore this movie. Love it. Love it. Love it. Anaxunamon. By the way, there's some controversy came up on TikTok, and I was doing some. I wouldn't say deep, very shallow research, as in like I Googled like one thing. But everybody was saying, I'm Madison, this is your generation, so you're going to have to hop in and clear this shit up.
I'll translate.
No cap.
The whole controversy was, oh my God, Anaxunamun is Pharaoh Seti I's daughter and mistress. what a piece of shit, right? And I started Googling like, oh, really? Because there is a line in this movie
Hold
where...
on, backtrack. So the Pharaoh...
Correct.
His mistress is his daughter? Is that what you're saying?
That's what the dead ass, what they're saying.
Okay. I didn't know these were like real people.
Pharaoh Seti the first is,
okay.
but Anck-su-namun is debated whether or not she's ever existed.
Okay.
But when I was Googling it, like just on like the mummy wiki and stuff, does not seem to be the case. In fact, the sequels would argue otherwise because he does have a daughter that, have you seen the sequels, both of you?
I've seen Scorpion King, but I don't remember anything other than that awful rock CGI.
So they go on to say that Evelyn, Evie, is the reincarnation of Pharaoh Seti the First's daughter. And that's why Imhotep looked at her the way that he did in the first movie. It's just something they made up later. They retconned it. But so that would suggest that Anck-su-namun is not his daughter, right? Mm-hmm. But there is a line in this movie where I think it's the Egyptologist, when he finally reveals himself to be part of the Magi, when he starts giving a little exposition and he says...
The library curator.
Yes.
The Egyptologist is...
that's right.
Dr. Chamberlain, Jonathan Hyde.
Yeah, the curator.
But you're talking about the curator, I think his name is Terrence, played by Eric Avari, who's in like a ton of shit.
Yeah.
But he says the Pharaoh's daughter in reference to Anck-su-namun, but he might have meant like the previous Pharaoh. I don't know how pharaohs work. I don't recall from high school. All that is to say, I do not think Anck-su-namun, I think it's just his mistress. However, watching this movie as an adult, I do think part of the reason this movie is so fucking good is Imhotep is a really good villain because you can understand everything that he's going through. Like he was just in love with someone who like was being sexually assaulted on a daily basis and wanted free of the Pharaoh's grasp.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's a line where the face tats guy, he's like, we are descended from the Pharaoh's bodyguards. And I'm like, oh, so you're the cops, the evil cops,
that
nonetheless,
killed
right?
them initially.
Yeah, I'm thinking ACAB, get him, Imhotep. You know what I mean? Like, other than destroy the whole world, he does nothing wrong.
And really, he's only destroying the whole world because...
other than destroying the world.
You know what I mean?
Really, he's only in a position where he can destroy the whole world because they were like, let's curse him.
Yes.
Here's his punishment. We're going to give him a curse. And this curse is... he's going to have a real bad time in that grave, all right? Mm-hmm. It's going to suck. But if anyone ever lets him out, he can destroy the world.
We're going to have a real bad time.
That's not on him.
That's why they were... I know her exposition later is like, that's why they were hesitant to use this curse. I'm like, yeah, good reason.
Yeah.
Like, just kill him.
Like,
regular old kill him.
We're going to reserve this world-ending curse for the biggest bastard in history. Yeah, because that's never panned out in a poor way. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe...
what could go wrong?
If you ever put that curse on anyone, you would put it on, like, I don't know, like Mother Teresa, if you were going to curse her. Well, she was also kind of a bastard.
But Steve, they swapped the book's burial sites and lied about it.
Right.
It was a foolproof plan that nobody would ever find it.
That's true.
Plus, the cops' kids were watching over it for millennia.
Yeah.
Anyway, just watching it as an adult, I was like, fuck those guys. You know what I mean? Like the Pharaoh's body. The Pharaoh was a super asshole.
The first like few minutes where they kind of set up the backstory of Imhotep and Anck-su-namun is kind of like, it really does a lot to make you feel like, they're not bad. Fuck that guy. Fuck the Pharaoh. He deserved to die.
He's just been seething for 3,000 years. And so now he's super mad. Yeah. And he just pops out and all he wants is his lover, right?
He's super angry.
That's what makes it such a good movie because you can identify with the villain. That's always the best type of villain.
He was in that coffin for 3,000 years, scratching at the walls, being eaten by bugs, just constantly going, tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
He's got the little hair.
Is only the beginning.
The bugs are like, leave the hair.
Leave the hair. Have time to carve like super well done hieroglyphics
while being
eaten by 100 scarabs?
So it's a lot of concentration that man has.
He's like, a lot of finger painting while he's getting destroyed.
And in pitch black, so like if I try to even write that without bugs crawling on me, it would look like shit.
His finger's just a nub. It comes out.
Yeah, because that...
What's it say?
Shit, yeah.
That carve was deep.
It says deaf is only the falafel? I don't understand it.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
Get it? Because he's not able to write what he's thinking because he's getting eaten.
Yeah.
It's back to that joke.
And he's also been bounded up like a mummy.
Well, they ate the wrap, so he got out of that.
That's true.
It's like me at Subway.
He's like, this is inconvenient, but kind of nice for me. This is my phrase. Everyone knows I say this. Like
They'll definitely know it's me.
Like when that dude was alive, that was like his catchphrase. Like people would be like, "Here's your sandwich, sir," and he'd be like, "Thank you." Hey, death is only the beginning.
Well, he was a big deal. He was the high priest.
Have a good day, sir.
Yeah. Okay. What's the end?
He is like, you know how I am with shouting the tomb is empty at people?
Yes.
That was his phrase that he would yell at
That's
people.
the only beginning.
That is only the beginning. We're going to live forever.
He's like the Tony Robbins of ancient Egypt. Doing all these seminars and stuff.
Yep.
Love it.
That's his calling card. This was co-written, by the way, by Kevin Yara. I don't know how it's pronounced, but he's the guy that co-wrote Tombstone that we were just talking about a few weeks ago.
No!
That's the one. I love that you keep those on there.
Yep.
You never know when you might need it.
You never know. You never know when you need a...
I'm your huckleberry.
That's true. God, I would. If Doc Holliday was in The Mummy 1999, I would never watch a different movie.
How lewd.
When she walks out with her body paint.
No wonder you weren't wearing a bustle.
Because she was planning on killing the pharaoh.
Yeah.
By the way, she's only wearing a loincloth and nipple pasties.
Yeah.
I just thought I would throw that out there.
And no one is allowed.
I'm a fan of that.
No one's
outfit.
allowed to touch her, right? Like,
No,
because she is the property of the pharaoh. She is his mistress, and he's like, "I'm going to paint you every day, and if I see a smudge on you, I'll know someone hath touched you."
Mm-hmm. Well, let's dive right in. Let's get there. We'll get there quick, right?
Yeah.
It starts off 1290 BC. What's that mean?
It's a year of free love, baby.
I put ancient Egypt as fuck. This is Thebes, the city of the living, and it's under Pharaoh Seti I. Imhotep is his high priest, keeper of the dead, and Anaxunamun is his mistress, as they describe her, right? And as
right.
Steve said, yeah, he keeps her in head to toe body paint, so that if anybody, but also the priests are also head to toe body paint.
Yeah,
but I guess you can touch them.
She's got like the black markings. Then that's if you smudge the black markings.
I know, and he goes in for the kiss, man, and he like doesn't touch her face. He restrains himself, but then he just full on grabs the
Shoulders,
arm.
yeah.
Just fingers the shit out of it.
Yeah, he's doing
little
the thumb action.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was having a thumb war with her shoulders. He did not know how thumb wars
Which, by
work.
the way, that is not the best security system. I mean, she could just be walking in the hallway, having a couple glasses of wine, and just scrape one of those walls, one of those rough bricks.
Totally.
And then who touched you? Nobody.
The wall.
Yeah. How many people die before he believes her?
Or she has an itch on her arm and she's just like,
Yeah.
scratch.
Yeah.
And he's like, who touched you?
A
She's
bad
like,
case of
"Myself."
eczema, and a lot of people are getting executed. But the priests were trying to look out for their homie. Like, oh, he's getting some pushers.
Better lock them doors.
Because when the pharaoh comes in, he's like, what are you doing here? Which leads me to believe, we're keeping a lookout. She's getting fingered.
We're making sure you don't come in.
Which is why they get punished too. But then the pharaoh notices he gets stabbed to death in this awesome silhouette scene, right?
Yeah, I love that she says, my body is no longer his temple.
Yeah, not your temple. My body's my temple, which is why I only eat greens. And
She's very fit.
Very progressive, this movie.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. And then she bids him go because he can resurrect her. She's very
Imhotep,
confident
yeah.
in his magical powers, right? And he's like, yeah, but it's still going to hurt really bad.
Yeah, and she stabs herself.
She does.
There's actually an ongoing thing. So I was watching some videos kind of to find up some, behind the scenes.
BTS?
BTS.
Not
of this
the band.
movie. And apparently the director, Steven Sommers, had a really awful time with extras in this movie. Like the extras in this movie were like blowing takes all the time. And there's a really famous one towards the end of the movie. But the first example of this is it took like 10 takes to get the bodyguards of the pharaoh, when they walk in, they see the dead body. It took like 10 takes to get them all to look at the body at the same time. So
It's funny that you say that, because when I was watching it last night, there's a guy like second from the left with long hair. He looks like he's in Nickelback or something. And his act is really bad. Like he's like,
It's Chad Kruger.
yeah, it's literally him. He's like, oh, look at this photograph.
Pharaoh.
But his acting in that scene is like, oh no.
What happened to the pharaoh?
Where's Harvey?
Oh my God.
So I
cannot believe this is happening.
I took note of it. So it's funny you say that. Like you can totally tell. But I blame Steven Sommers. $80 million. How much of that was, what did they give the extras? A bag of fucking rolls gold and that's it. Probably
Panera sandwiches.
They were sitting there for 14 hours a day waiting for their, pay the extras, guys. You get what you pay for in this world. But so he steals her body, takes her to Hamunaptra, the city of the dead, and he's got the Book of the Dead, which is what you do in the city of the dead. It makes sense.
Yeah, every city is of the blank, and it has a book of the blank as well.
Yeah, Thebes, city of the living.
Yeah,
well, that's the Book of Amun Ra.
Cincinnati is the city of Geta.
Sure,
and so we have the Book of Geta.
The Book of the Geta.
Yeah,
we do.
Mm-hmm. Got to get it.
You gotta get it.
CGI not great with the water soul stuff, but there's a lot of stuff in this movie that does look pretty good.
Yeah.
My notes are okay, VFX. Okay.
Well, it's funny because one of the sequels to this, or spinoffs, I guess, has legendarily the worst CGI of all time, the Scorpion King.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff in like the actual early Mummy Imhotep stuff is pretty good, I think.
Oh yeah, for the most part, the special effects hold up.
And
except those skies. I'm just saying the skies are like very Mortal Kombat bad sky CGI.
I dig it.
War of the Worlds, like, whoa, okay.
But I love Mortal Kombat, so
that's true.
Best score of all time. Mm-hmm. Do you got it on there?
No, I was playing with this earlier.
I was like, why the fuck do you have that on there?
During the film episode, we were doing Shao Kahn voices where it's like fight. Like that.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Is that
your best? Like that was the thing that Shao Kahn would always say.
But the Pharaoh's bodyguards stop him right as he almost completes the resurrection ritual. That's hard to say.
Resurrection
ritual.
Yeah, that's hard to say.
Elmer Fudd was having a time with this movie.
Be very quiet. We'll make it mummies.
The resurrection ritual. But his priests get mummified alive.
That sucks.
Which is rough stuff. Like later on, Evie is describing the process of mummification, and she's like, "Well, it's okay because they're dead." And like I think that was on purpose to reference the people in the room where she's sitting were mummified alive, which is a bummer. And he must endure the curse of the Homdai. Which is where we were talking about earlier, was not a good move on their part.
Yeah.
Apparently he was fully wrapped up in bandages for 4 hours on set.
Really?
Oh.
Like that shot where he's completely like bandaged up.
Yeah, why?
It's like that for 4 hours. I guess because they had to get that shot. And the extras kept blowing their cues.
Shit. 4 hours for that?
There's a wide shot that starts on one of the extras like putting something in a fire, and then it pans up and reveals the priest getting mummified alive. It's that shot. Apparently that shot took 12 takes because of just one dude. Like this one dude just kept blowing his cue every single time, and all he had to do was turn.
Oh no.
Again, he got paid a bite-sized bag of rolled gold.
Yeah.
And the Magi must never allow him to be released. It's like that's the intro that we get. That's the inciting incident, if you will.
Super powerful if he ever gets released.
And the Statue of Anubis transition, I thought, was excellent.
I call it the transition of erosion.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It fits.
And we start off now in Hamunaptra in the year 1923. The Magi descend from the Pharaoh's bodyguards. That's when we learn that they're just cops. And the armies be battling over the land, right? And I wasn't sure, no matter how many times I've seen this, is Rick...
He's in the French Foreign Legion.
Is he not a mercenary? He's just in the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's fighting...
Because Benny, and I didn't realize this until watching this movie with subtitles, Benny's Hungarian.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
never knew that until I watched with subtitles on. Because whenever he would kind of like speak his language and kind of like mutter to himself, it would always say speaks in Hungarian. I'm like, oh, I never really thought of him as an Hungarian guy. But sure, makes sense that he's in the French Foreign Legion then.
Yeah.
Does it? I don't know my Europe.
I don't know either.
You just said that?
Yeah.
Are they beholden to France, the Hungarians?
Well,
Hungary?
Here, I'm going to look up the French Foreign Legion while you do that.
But are you saying that they're fighting what we call the Magi?
No, they're not. The Magi are like watching this go down.
Yeah, they're watching to make sure that neither side finds the tomb.
Yeah, and the narrator's like descended from the Pharaoh's bodyguards. He doesn't talk like that, but in my mind he does because he's a cop.
Yeah.
So the French Foreign Legion, men between the ages of 17 and 40 of any nationality may join the Legion. Recruits enlist under an assumed name, a requirement known as the anonymat. That might be pronouncing that incorrectly.
No, you nailed it.
But a Legionnaire may request to serve under his true name after a year of service.
I should know all this because of how many times I've seen Jean-Claude Van Damme's Legionnaire
Is that a thing? Is that a plot point in Legionnaire?
I don't remember anything other than Jean-Claude Van Damme and Legionnaire.
What kind of a deal?
And that outfit. Classic cinema, though.
But yeah, they're fighting someone.
Sure.
They don't really kind of get into who they're fighting.
Yeah, we don't know who they're fighting.
But they wants that land. And Benny runs from him, right? Like your strength inspires me.
Bitch.
He is a classic selfish biatch.
I love how they try to make it seem like they're friends. Like, you're with me on this one, right? He's like, yeah, your strength gives me strength. And then he immediately runs
away.
And that's no, that's Benny's character arc.
And that's
just
fun.
an opportunistic coward. And they have like some weird frenemy relationship.
But like, even if he had just run, like, you could still be friends with him. Like, he's just a coward, right?
Yeah,
but then when he shuts the door on him, you're like, oh,
okay, you're a dick.
You're toxically coward, right?
Yeah.
Selfish person. I get it now.
I love the bit where the British officer that's leading them runs, or I guess the French officer runs, and Benny's like, he just got promoted.
Oh, that's a good Benny voice.
Yeah.
And so the horses and men all flee right before they shoot Rick because they finally corner Rick after a harrowing adventure sequence.
It's a great action scene.
It is good.
Yeah, and they get him right up to where, and we get to see that he's a badass, right? He's got at least 4 pistols on him and a rifle.
Yeah,
and
he
knows
takes
how
on
to
this
use them.
army basically by himself.
He always shoots way more bullets than necessary, especially for the old school 6-shooters.
Yeah,
you got a finite amount of bullets
He
there, buddy.
runs out of 6-shooter ammo in maybe like a second.
Yeah, he busts like all 12 caps.
I'm out.
2 dudes. You know?
I do love the wide shot of this battle because you've got the front line that Brendan Fraser and Benny, I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, they're on the front line, right? But then there's like a giant wall behind them and there's people on the wall. And anytime they cut to a wide shot, there is never no less than 20 people falling off that wall at any given time.
Yeah, why were they shooting them? Yeah, exactly.
They're
I thought
always
the same thing.
like, it's like a waterfall of extras just constantly flowing off of this wall.
They're thinking ahead by shooting those guys.
Yeah.
So they finally corner Rick like at the statue of Anubis, and they're about to fire upon him when they get spooked because they are presumably locals who know the curse of the area, right?
It's the curse.
And they flee, right? And when Rick's like, I scared him. But then there's a whispering, like Sam Raimi directed certain scenes of this. Yeah. You'll die. I don't like you.
You're stepping on my headstone. That's really disrespectful.
George of the Jungle sucked. It's Pauly Shore. Wheezing the jizz. And then there's like crazy sand and a scary mouth.
It's crazy sand, yeah.
Which is on the cover. And then the Magi watch Rick leave and they're like, don't worry, the desert will kill him. We not waste bullet.
Little did they know.
Little do they know that the desert kills no one in movies.
No.
We have to wear these body cams now. We can't do anything to him.
We can't search him unless we have probable cause.
Yeah. And then 3 years later in Cairo, so I did some quick math with a calculator, that would make it 1926.
Good job.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
And we're introduced to Evelyn in a museum, and she's a librarian and happy to be it. She's on a ladder. There's a lot of good physical comedy in this movie that I didn't really remember specifically, but she does this whole like Charlie Chaplin ladder scene.
With the dude in drag on the ladder.
Yeah. Did you recognize that or something?
Yeah, well, when they cut to the wide shots, like that's definitely not Rachel Weisz.
Dang.
That's a dude.
I didn't notice that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pay attention.
The wide shot is when she's like doing,
actually standing on the ladder.
Yeah, that's a stunt double.
Wow.
But it's a male stunt double, which makes it funnier.
That's awesome.
Equally attractive one because I didn't notice.
The
Would
sexy
smash.
librarian energy is still radiating.
My dude.
So
Ripping
good.
off that guy.
And she knocks every bookshelf down like dominoes. And then the curator comes out, sons of the pharaohs. He even curses in like Egyptology.
Compared to you, the other plagues were a joy.
Yeah. I'm going to other Egypt references. And this is where we get a little clever exposition, I thought, from a writing perspective. Like we find out that she can read and write ancient Egyptian, that she's very talented in that regard, but also that her parents were, there's some like Egyptology nepotism going on here. Like that's why she's there. Her parents were the wealthiest patrons of that library, right? And then she hears some ruckus within.
Well, that shot where they knocked down the bookcases, that domino.
Was that another one that took 12 takes?
No, they had to do that in one. that was all in one take. And they had, because they used like an absurd amount of books in that. And they were like, we can only afford to do this one time, guys. We got to get it right.
It's like the statues not being knocked over in Men in Tights.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. But more high stakes.
Yeah, way more.
So is the whole shot her falling, the camera panning around, and then showing her reaction to that?
Yeah, that's all one take. And because they couldn't have like multiple cutaway cameras in there because the lighting that they were used was too elaborate. And so they were like, okay, we have to do this right.
Don't fuck it up.
And luckily they did. They got it all
in one
take.
They nailed it. It's a good scene for sure.
And there were no extras in that.
Yeah, I was going to say there were no extras, so they were able to nail it.
Yeah.
That's why they was like, empty the room. They were written in there, you know it, but he was like, I can't risk it.
I can't. You guys got to go.
She's by herself. So she hears a ruckus deeper into the library or the museum part of it. And she finds that her brother, Jonathan, pranks her with a corpse. He's laying in the coffin with it, disrespecting the dead.
I love Jonathan.
This guy, we saw him in the very first episode of The Last of Us. Do you remember that? He's in the opening scene of the hit show The Last of Us.
I think I said that's the guy from The Mummy.
Yeah, you pointed that out. But he in the beginning when they have that 1960s talk show and there's that one scientist that's like, oh, the real threat is a fungal disease. He plays that doctor who was, telling the oncoming doom that the world was about to experience.
The fungus expert.
Yeah.
That actor's name's John Hannah?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we find a little bit more about Evie. The Bembridge scholars have refused her, so she's got like a chip on her shoulder a little bit about her scholarly nature. And he gives her a quote-unquote trinket that he found in Thebes, he says, right? Which we find out very soon is the key. And she's excited about this, but she finds like a whole ass map to Hymenoptera inside the key. Why would they put that in there? Here's the key you need. Here's the map, but don't use it.
Why don't they throw this shit away? Why don't they ever
This movie would have been 2 hours longer.
You can go over here, but you better not.
But don't.
X marks the spot, but don't go there.
Hopefully we got some cops that will say, oops, it's on fire.
But why would they need the map if they had no intention of resurrecting this guy?
Right. Like who needs to find this place?
Yeah.
Maybe one of the priests. Well, in my headcanon, check this out. One of Imhotep's priests went undercover. All he had to do was take off his robe and wash off the gold paint.
Sure.
Maybe a quick wig. And he was just like, oh, I love the Pharaoh when they walked by.
He just had to look like Nickelback.
Yeah,
real quick.
Exactly. It was Chad Kruger.
Look at this photograph.
Yeah.
Look at this map.
Look at this map.
Look at this Pharaoh's map.
And then he put it in there, tucked it away. A few thousand years.
What would it be? Look at this cartograph.
That's good. That's great.
Damn. Love it. Nickelback humor.
Nickelback and the Mummy crossworlds. I love it.
And this is where we learn a little more about their knowledge of Hymenoptera in the present day. They take it to the curator, super excited, and he pretends to accidentally burn it.
So, oh no.
Oops.
Oh no, probably for the best.
He doesn't even hide it though. You can tell. It's like, it's probably for the best. Many have died seeking Hymenoptera. Or many have gone off in search of it and few have returned, some shit like that, right? Then we cut to the Cairo prison. And it's an interesting, I feel like there was a scene cut out here. It still works, like maybe a conversation or at least a quick line between Jonathan and Evie.
I was curious, okay, they went from the curator to how did they know that Brendan Fraser's character knew?
Because Jonathan stole it from it. At some point off screen, he admits to Evie he didn't find it in Thebes, that he stole it from a guy local in a bar, right, who's now in prison.
And you think there's a deleted scene of that conversation?
I imagine so, because it's like, we're all...
Sure.
Well, there's probably a deleted scene of we're
all pretty smart
how
folks.
He knows he's in prison and not necessarily at that bar he pickpocketed.
Yeah, there's just a lot of info there.
Yeah. And where do they get from A to C? Like
last night taking notes, I even rewound it just because watching it for this kind of purpose, I was like, wait. And then I was like, I guess they just kind of expect you to assume everything from this conversation between Jonathan and Evie there. But he lied to her about where he got it. And Rick from earlier is in prison now. He's the one that had the key. He got it in Hymenoptera. This is me figuring all this shit out. I just want to read you my stream of consciousness. Okay. He punches Jonathan because eventually he does recognize him.
Oh, I love the prison warden. Can I just say that?
Yeah, say it.
I love the
stinky
warden,
guy.
The warden.
Hassan.
Our little stinky friend.
Yeah, I love him because he's got a really good voice.
He does.
He has a very memorable voice. And Is there a way where you can say vocal blocking, like the blocking of line deliveries? Because there's a point where he's like, what did he say? He said something like, he was just looking for a good time. And like, right as he's like says that, that's when he bursts into the room. And it just the way he like delivers, I'm like, I feel really good about this.
Yeah.
And then later when he says that he's going to execute him, he references that joke.
He had a very good time.
Yeah. I wrote that down because I did love that shit. Some of the interplay is awesome.
Yeah. I was wondering what to call that guy. I've called him the jailer throughout this whole thing.
That's fair.
But warden is a much
I called
better
him prison
thing
guy.
to call him.
Yeah, I think Jonathan calls him the warden.
He does at one point. Where's the warden?
Gotcha.
But he kisses Evie without consent.
Rick does, not the warden.
Correct. Well, he tries.
Just to clarify. I mean, who hasn't? Let's try it.
Who amongst us?
Who amongst us? And then later on, he's letting her watch the execution. And at this point, he tells her he knows where Hamunaptra is. He's been there personally, right? She does believe him for whatever reason. So she's like, oh, I need him on my team. I need this guy. And so she, what's so funny?
I love the executioner where he's like, any last requests? He's like, yeah, loosen this.
Let me go.
Let me go. And then the guy looks at the warden like, can he do that? Is that
no. And then he gets mad, like slaps him on the back of the head. You embarrassed me in front of my friends. But she offers a couple of figures, but up to 500 pounds to release Rick O'Connell. And then he's like, how about also maybe a hand job? And she's like,
he said, I'm a little lonely.
Definitely not. And he's like, deal's off then.
No, hang the man.
And so because she denied him ass, he said, no, kill the man. But then she's like, hey, he knows where Hamunaptra is. We're going to get all kinds of treasure.
You shitting me?
Booty.
Girl, you shitting me? He knows Hamunaptra?
So
You know her? Oh, shit.
some quick
damn, you just
He reverse negotiates.
I do love it how does he start at 50%?
50-50, I think.
It's 50-50. And then at one point
He gets it up to 30.
and then she tricks him into going to 25 below what she said.
I think he's just dumb.
Yeah, well, he is dumb.
Yeah.
He's a dumb person.
She says 30 and he goes 25. Deal.
Damn
But
it.
to his credit, he's a smarmy guy, but he's like, oh, you got me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
He doesn't try to backtrack. He's like, shit. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But the next day, they're beginning their journey, and she's talking hella shit to Jonathan about Rick O'Connell. Like he's just a swashbuckling, dirty
Scoundrel.
just a real piece of shit. And he shows up all handsome, and
Scruffy
sexy,
looking nerve
and
herder.
cleaned up. She probably saw some stills of George of the Jungle in that loincloth and was
Doing
like, oh my
something to
God.
Doing
Strong
something
as
to me.
he can be.
And then, watch out for that
Watch out
tree.
for that tree.
I like this. There's a small thing too. I noticed. I think Jonathan goes up and kind of slaps him on the back, and O'Connell checks like his wallet or something, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Very nice.
Now that he's sober,
Touch.
he's like, hey. So he had to make sure he wasn't robbed by Jonathan again. And then the warden shows up to protect his investment.
Smart guy.
Is he?
He's not. He's an enterprising individual. How about that?
Next scene,
He just seems like a very simple-minded guy that's just, I made a deal and I'm going to see it follow through.
Mm-hmm. Just gotta.
I had some PTO banked at the prison, and I'm going to use it.
Yeah. He seems like a great little adventure.
I hope I find some blue gold.
That'd be great. We all know blue gold is in them sands.
Mm-hmm. And the very next shot we get is the Magi already being all creepy on their
The
little
hook
rowboat.
guy.
Yeah.
I love the hook guy where he like brings out his hook and it's like menacing hook wide, and then like it pans out to reveal they're on a canoe.
It's like, Peter Pan, where are you?
Yeah. I did. I just watched Peter Pan and Wendy yesterday as well.
Oh, really?
The new Disney Plus.
Did you really?
Adaptation. Yeah, sort of.
Wow.
Wait, is it on Disney right now?
Huh?
Shut up.
Straight to VOD. Straight to streaming. I fell
Sorry.
asleep.
Every time I see a new Peter Pan movie come out, my first thought is, who's this for?
It's probably not the movie's fault. It's the fact that I'm getting older and I am less and less able to think happy thoughts, and I'm in recovery. So I can't use pixie dust.
Okay, best. Okay, what are your guys' favorite interpretation of the Peter Pan story?
Hook.
Yeah, I was going to say Hook. Hook is easily one of my favorites.
Rufio.
Yeah, it's probably Hook. I mean,
But I haven't seen it, and
there
people
are
gonna.
like a billion Peter Pan.
I have heard the
things, though.
2003 Peter Pan is fire.
Okay, that one is pretty good.
I haven't seen it.
It's pretty good. Jason Isaacs plays the dad and Captain Hook.
Nice.
Oh, Jason
And,
Isaacs.
Yeah, I forget. I think Jeremy Sumpter is the guy who plays Peter Pan, and a lot of my friends growing up, like a way that we would bond would be over Jeremy Sumpter. Hold on, let me double check and make sure that's the guy's name.
I'm pretty sure you're correct. I've never seen the awful just much much hated Hugh Jackman Pan either.
Oh, I saw that and that was bad.
That's what
That
I've
was
heard.
bad.
That's what I've heard.
Is it the play that always goes wrong where it's a Peter Pan thing? It's like it's a popular stage play currently happening where they're putting on a performance of Peter Pan, but like everything goes wrong in the play and that's part of the act.
I've
you
never
guys
heard
seen
this.
I don't know.
No.
They put a lot of stuff on TikTok to kind of like generate buzz about it, and it looks really funny. Where like the Captain Hook's like doing a big, villainous speech, and then like one of the extras like falls over and like breaks the set, and then he's like looking around like and he like keeps going. Like the whole point is this play keeps fucking up, and the actors are barreling through it at the same time. It looks really funny.
It's like being on the set of The Mummy, 1999, with the extras.
Yeah, basically,
But on purpose.
Yeah.
So the Magi are creeping toward the boat. They don't have a warrant, but they don't care.
It's a no-knock policy.
This is where we meet the other team heading to Hamanatra. The Americans are playing poker, and they make a bet with Rick on who's going to get there first. $500. Who's going to get there first? And Rick takes that bet. But they say they also have a man who's been there, and we find out soon that it's Benny. Benny's bitch ass. And the next scene, Rick's just throwing out all of his guns to impress Evie. He's like,
He said, "Look at this shit."
look at all these. I'm just going to polish them in front of you real quick. Got to keep them oiled and slick so they slide easy.
Do you want to know the names I've given them? This one is Kathy, and this one is Kathy 2.
I don't know what kind of guns they are. I just know the sound they make when they take a man's life.
It's Pew.
And of course she's pew pew. And of course Evie doesn't give a shit. The only thing that is on her mind is that kiss.
Getting dicked on.
Yeah.
Poor
But she
Evie.
also tells him that she's looking for the book of
Amun-Ra.
Yeah.
It's said to have been made of solid gold.
Well, that's what he says. Like, and the fact that it's made of solid gold means nothing. But she's impressed. Like,
You know your history?
I know my treasure.
Hello?
And where the G-spot is. And she's like, what? And he's like, what?
What I did like is they like clearly Rick is like the bronze, of the, Evie is the brains. Am I saying that right?
Braun?
Brawn, yeah. And so it's like,
I was going to say, no, what? He is gold.
but his skin is bronze. And we
true.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I'm pale.
But it's like, I liked this scene where they both have this commonality of like, yeah, we don't give a shit about like the gold, the treasure. We like the history part of it.
yeah,
So
we like
that's
the
that's
adventure.
Yeah. And so that's why I like this scene.
For sure.
But why did he kiss her, Chris?
Yeah, that's where it all goes downhill for him. He's got a lot of riz up to this point, one would say,
Yeah,
right? He's
totally.
a Rizzard Harry. He's the Rizzard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know any more riz puns
He's
at the
the
moment.
Rizzler.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's with classics.
Yeah.
But I've seen some good ones since then. I'll have to catch you up, Steve.
The line, the Riz in the wardrobe.
But she says, hey, why'd you
Nice.
kiss me? And he said, I was about to be hanged. Seemed like a good idea at the time. And in like a very disinterested, offhand way.
Yeah. Like I'm cool. I don't need to tell you.
you were the only woman I could see.
Yeah.
I almost kissed the warden. Jonathan wasn't looking bad. I was drunk. I was in prison.
Yeah, I could have kissed Jonathan.
And she's offended by that. She storms off, but not far. Like she's still nearby, like just petting the horse, which is kind of awkward because it looks like they block it to where she just kind of walks out of frame.
Yeah.
But after he finds Benny, she's just right next to them still.
She's only 15 feet away, just petting the
I
camel.
actually don't know where my room is. I don't know why she sounds like Pippin now.
Hello, Pippin the dog. I often like adventure and also Frenching Brendan Fraser.
Who doesn't?
Not me, I love him.
But he finds Benny hiding back there. They have a quick conversation.
My little buddy Benny.
And then throws Benny overboard, which I thought was hilarious.
I love how it's made clear that Benny does this often, where he will take people to the city of Hamunaptra, but he will be paid up in full and up front, and then just ditch them in the desert and
Where they
leave them.
presumably will die.
Where they presumably die. But these Americans are smart because they are only paying him half up front and half when they get back.
And Benny's very greedy. He could just take the half, but that's his greed is his downfall,
Yeah.
as we'll see by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But he gets thrown overboard.
And then Rick
does.
sees some wet footsteps, right? And he's like, "Ooh, that's not good. Somebody's been in the water, walking on the deck."
I love the small touch where he immediately looks back overboard to see, like, did Benny get back
Benny-
up here
yeah.
already?
He's fast as shit.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And we cut to Evie in her nightie thinking about the kiss, but trying not to. But she's reading like some.
Yeah, she's like reading erotica. She's like, shit.
And then the octopus or whatever.
She's reading hentai.
I'm glad. Hold on.
Oh
I just
my,
want to point
12
out
tentacles.
both of you knew about tentacle porn. Just so don't be pointing any fingers or suction cups my way.
Who amongst us hasn't thought about being wrapped up?
Stop it. Stop it, Steve. And then she gets accosted by the Magi Man.
Hookman.
In a very fun classic, oh no, I'm in the mirror. I dropped something. Let me bend down and then come back in the mirrors in frame. And then, the bad guy's there too.
Just unwashed and sneering.
Complete jump scare. Loved it.
Right as she let her hair down too.
Mm-hmm. Paul F. Tompkins has a very good bit about that trope where he describes being in his bathroom for maybe 5 minutes leading up to the point where he's like, and then I continue looking in myself in the mirror. And like, it's just this long drawn out joke before finally he does the whole like, oh, there's a ghost behind me, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Great joke. Look it up.
It works every time though.
It is good.
And then I think Rick busts in and he like shoots the guy through the window.
Through the wall.
Sweat dripped down.
Well, no, like the guy opens the window and I guess the air from the window makes the candle move and that gives Rick the heads up. There's a guy in the window. So he turns and shoots that dude.
But of course he fires 11 of his 12 bullets at that one guy.
Yeah. And
because you can't risk it.
Does he shoot a lantern and that's how everything gets on fire?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that fucking boat goes up in flames quick.
Yeah.
What is that boat made out of?
Twigs. Timber.
And gasoline.
Yeah.
To lube it up for the water.
But they leave the room and the map's on fire and she's like, oh no, we left the map. And he goes, no, I'm the map.
I'm the map.
I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. Did we all write down a Dora the Explorer joke there?
We did. We did.
We are all cool.
But then so Jonathan goes back in and he accidentally knocks the hook guy into the fire.
I know, because she left the key and didn't even think about it. She didn't really know that was a key at the time.
Right.
It was just a box.
But
And he's like, hey, my box.
Yeah, he goes and gets it, knocks the hook guy into the fire, and then the hook guy proceeds to spend the next, I don't know, conservatively 30 minutes on fire wandering that boat.
He does. Looking for he's a beast. And I like the scene where a more physical comedy where she saves him from the bullet.
That was good.
You see the bullet holes approaching his head and then she gets increasingly concerned and then yanks him to safety.
He's like nonchalantly reloading his gun, not even noticing, and then she just tugs him.
It's great. It's just good fucking TV.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. It's good TV. Good movie.
Goddamn.
It's like Curse of the Black Pearl, by the way, is also kind of like this and very good.
I wrote at the very top. It reminds me a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean and National Treasure. Those two movies.
Also slap.
Yeah. Very, very good movies.
Not as many. Well, you're right. Curse of the Black Pearl does have almost as many, if not as many, attractive people. National Treasure, not so much.
Jeffrey Rush.
I mean, Diane Kruger, though?
No, for sure. For sure.
Dime. So hot.
Like that scene where they have to change clothes in the stalls now. Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. We're on the same page.
Wow. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program.
What happens? She saves him from the bullet, and then he says, "Can you swim?" And she's like, "Yeah, when it's needed." And he's like, "Well, it's needed."
It's
throws
needed.
her off
it
the
calls
boat.
for it. I love the gag with the warden where the warden runs up, what do we do? What do we do? And he's like, don't worry, I'll go get help. And he jumps off the boat. Here. And then there's that beat where the warden's like nervously waiting on the boat on fire before he's like, oh, this motherfucker.
And he jumps off, yeah. And the other Americans are having a cowboy good time.
They're having the time of their lives,
Woo,
man.
I wanted to shoot people so bad for a long time.
That's why we came to this country. Pew pew.
And they end up saving Jonathan, actually. So they're not bad guys. They're just stereotypical Americans, right?
Yeah.
Which is the worst.
What? Even Jonathan has that like Americans line before they save him, and then he's like, bloody good show, chaps.
Yeah.
Right on. I will be stereotypically British, since you are cowboys, clearly.
Hip hip cheerio. Here's an abominable bunt.
Could really go for some bangers and mash right now. And I got Australian there at the end.
Nose count.
Just a little mite.
Nose count. Nar.
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 Claire.
Everyone hates us.
Roy Kent says that in Ted Lasso too. He goes, no.
But when they get to land, there's a funny scene where Benny's super happy. Looks like I got all the horses. And then Rick retorts that you're on the wrong side of the river with those horses, you dumbass.
To me like you're on the wrong side of the river.
Which cue SNL skit in a van down by the river.
And Chris Farley's parked right there.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
Eating all the 30 kids' school lunches.
So this scene actually has a little bit of interesting CGI happening in it. And that is that they painted over Rachel Weisz's dress because it was see-through because of the water that they were trudging in. So they painted over it so it would not be see-through.
And I made note. I said, Evie in that nightgown is doing something to me along with Rick's rolled up quarter sleeves.
Yes. I didn't want to be inappropriate, but I was like, dang, with the wet white nighty.
I didn't know they painted over it. Like,
yeah, digitally they painted over
also,
so it wouldn't be see-through.
Since we're all being honest here, when she gets her Egyptian garb, like with I forget what it's called, but it's like a mouth veil.
Face covering.
Yeah.
At night when she's drinking and the fire, I thought a lot of that outfit was see-through.
I didn't take note of that.
I didn't take note of that either.
I
was just like, dang.
I wasn't looking too hard.
I wasn't either.
Oh, sure.
I was.
What do you mean? Like,
I could see. I don't want to say anything
you
rude.
You could see her brassiere, like her underwear, like no bra.
I thought I could see thighs in an underwear outline, but also like her breasts were a different color, a skin color. Shade than like her shoulders and stuff were. And I was just like, are they? You know what I mean? I was just like, what a weird outfit choice. Or maybe I'm hoping for things.
Chris, it's the desert. You want to wear stuff that breathes, okay?
That's true.
It's true.
You got a good point there, Steve.
I mean, all the dudes wish they were wearing that outfit. Instead, they were in like full cotton.
And they got a lot of wool.
Sweating their balls off.
Basically.
Well, I never understood, and maybe it's true, I've never been there, but in like even the Magi...
in the desert.
We're all wearing like black. Like that attracts sunlight, right? That's not what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's very thin.
I think there's some truth to why you wear black. I don't know if it's so you're easily, like you can be seen.
So you don't reflect light?
Yeah, or you can be seen from far away. So like, I don't know exactly why.
They also wear a lot of layers because it does get incredibly cold as well at night.
Yeah. That's weird, isn't it? And
but also you're not supposed to expose your skin to the sun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because that'll mess you up.
But yeah, the wearing all black is a little, that sucks.
Check this out.
Sweaty.
The amount of heat gained by a Bedouin.
Translate.
Exposed to, I don't know what that is. I think that's a people who live in deserts, I think. Exposed to desert heat is the same whether he or she wears a black robe or a white one. The additional heat absorbed by the black robe is lost before it reaches the skin and drives convection under the black robe, making it more comfortable than a white robe.
Interesting.
Okay.
It doesn't make a huge difference whether you're wearing black or white in the hot weather, however. Is what another person on Google says.
Well, it does if you got high leather seats in your car.
You just look cooler.
Yeah.
My fucking thighs be burning.
For sure. I also have black seats, and that is true.
Yeah.
That is a truism. But anywho, they negotiate for some camels, right? And Rick makes a joke about it. Hey, it would have been a lot faster if we gave him your sister. But then he sees Evie looking fly in her new outfit.
Smoking hot.
Woo! And the Magi are just always watching. Always be watching, right?
They're like, she look good in that.
Damn, she does look good on that.
Okay,
we should get some of those. I told you we should get the mouth veils.
He said, I can't hide these face tattoos.
And then everyone's fallen asleep on Camelback except for Rick, I think. There's a funny scene where Jonathan like hits the warden with his camel swatter, whatever that's called.
I love the bit where they're like, I hate camels. They smell, they bite, they spit, smash cut to the warden spitting.
Yeah.
He's worse than a camel. And they show up right at the same time as the Americans, I guess, because even though they were on the right side of the river, they had to stop to negotiate for camels. And so they ended up showing up at the same time. And they all have to wait for the sunrise to be shown the way. And only Benny and Rick know this. And then there's a race. They're trying to win the $500, right? To be the first person to enter Hamunaptra. Evie ends up winning. And that's where Rick starts to fall for her even more. She's like, damn, she's hot and she knows how to ride a camel.
Are camels fast?
I was going to ask, I think in the sand, they could be better than horses.
In my notes, I wrote the camels are surprisingly in the lead, ?
I think camels are better in sand.
Okay.
In the terrain. And so like that,
That helps.
I'm not sure. But then I saw the Magi.
It says
riding
horses are faster than camels over terrains where the soil is well packed and hard. Camels may outrun horses on sandy terrain.
Google coming in motherfucking clutch.
Look at that.
But I mean, even still, those horses were like very far behind.
Yeah, they were getting crushed.
But Evie did have the secret weapon, which was the very specific, hey, go faster, activate the nitrous booster.
Yeah, she was
call because that camel does like has a little flatulence and then it goes really fast.
She
knows how to talk to it.
See. She does.
She ran into a mushroom from Mario Kart and just went. Yeah, a little speed.
Camel voiced by Vin Diesel, by the way.
Would not shock me.
Groot.
See, hut.
Family.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It can be tough out there as we try to navigate the many twists and turns that life throws our way. Not every problem we face has an obvious or easy solution, but talking through these issues can always bring major benefits. So whether you're dealing with a career change, relationship help, or just getting used to your new normal, therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life, so you can move forward with confidence and excitement. I myself have benefited from therapy. I have benefited from BetterHelp. I was struggling to find myself and figure out who I was post-divorce. BetterHelp matched me with an amazing therapist who taught me all about codependency, what it was, and ways I can combat it and realize my whole true self. So if it sounds like therapy is the right move for you, then give BetterHelp a try. It's online, convenient, flexible, and can work with your schedule. Filling out a brief questionnaire is all it takes to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time. To start your own therapy journey, visit betterhelp.com/streamingthings today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings. It's the month of September, and with a new month comes a new opportunity for us to be thankful for all of the stream fiends who help us at Streaming Things keep the lights on and make this show what it is. So let's give a super patron shout out to some of our most ardent supporters on patreon.com/streamingthings. Thank you so much to Becky the Farmer, Kaylee Sampson, Stanton Valentino, Sunshine, Huckleberry Cauliflower, Optimus, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Jason Hawkins, Butthorn, Conrad, David Malfara, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Jose Ruben Cruz Rodriguez, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Emmy, Joe Velez, Valerie, John Collins, Amber McVeigh, Amanda King, Trisha Bueller, Sun-Loving Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Jadinklage Morgoon, Jen Robinson, Kate, Kalisha Reeves, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Jeanette Murphy, Ashley Powers, Stephen V, Casey McCain, and Enza. And with that, back to the show.
And then, I think if there's a misogynist comment from the Egyptologist.
Yeah.
What does a woman know?
They are led by a woman. What does a woman know?
Yeah, because the Americans are like digging in a certain spot, but they go directly to the Anubis statue. And Mr. Henderson specifically is like, do they know something we don't know? Like, why are they over there?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. They're led by a woman.
Fucking nincompoop.
And then Rick says, hey, I bought you some tools off the Americans, right? It's a gift that he got for her, is what he says. And then the warden says, when they go down into the hole, look for bugs. I hate bugs, which is a foreshadowing.
Wait, hold on real quick. Did anyone notice the side swipe transition?
Oh, that is George Lucas style?
Yes, that was the only side swipe transition I saw, but I saw it.
There's a barn doors transition.
Oh, there is?
Yep.
Shut up.
I noted that thing. Yep.
I was like, that's how you know this movie's fucking good. I was like, all right, that shit fucking fire.
You get some side swipe transitions or a barn doors.
It was a diagonal.
Oh, it was a diagonal.
Yeah, crazy.
Was that in this scene?
Yeah, it was them
when
transitioning, into the hole.
There are some like great team ups in history. There's peanut butter and jelly. There's peanut butter and chocolate. There's side swipes and desert films. You know,
true.
So good.
Yeah.
So true.
What is
Tatooine.
What is that awful stench, Chris? What is that god awful stench?
The warden?
It's the prison warden. They get in the hole.
But she uses the mirrors for light, and that's what she had planned all along. She was doing that earlier in the scene upstairs, is what I was going to say.
Upstairs.
We do hear fucking bugs, not good for the warden. And then they end up creeping around.
I hate bugs.
There's a really extended sequence where Rick moves romantically to protect her and then pulls his 2 pistols out, and all the Americans are there pointing guns at them as well. They also have like a team of, indentured servants, basically, locals that they're paying, I assume, very little money. Like those are the actual extras.
These are the actual extras, yeah.
AKA red shirts. And they decide, Evie like sees a deeper crypt or a deeper level there. So like drops a pebble down and decides to de-escalate the situation because she's got another idea. So they go down under the statue to dig from underneath it and like trick them and pull everything that's in there down below. And he says, where's my smelly little friend, right? And it's the warden off hunting on his own. He thinks he found a bunch of jewels made
blue gold, baby.
Is that even a thing? It's not a thing, right?
I've never heard of blue gold before.
I'm blue. And then the doctor, he doesn't want...
Apparently there is blue gold.
Oh, it's a real thing? Yeah. Now I feel dumb.
I'm
dumber
alloy
than the warden.
An alloy with gold, with gallium or indium having a grayish or slightly blue color.
Blue gold.
But is it a natural like solid like that is, or is it?
Is it typically scarabs?
The ones I'm looking at are just rings, but
Boring.
apparently it has its own Wiktionary. So
Back with the Americans.
blue gold is also known as fresh water.
I get it because it's blue like water.
Yeah.
The Americans are trying to open, I don't know,
A crypt or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like a whole ass wall. And the doctor's a dick. He's like, no, let them open it. And then he like yells at them to keep doing what they're doing. And then they open it and they die, which is very
Salt
upsetting.
acid.
There's like
Salt acid, whatever that is.
What a way to go.
The worst. And then they accidentally find, Evie and Rick are having a nice little convo, taking a break from the digging they were doing earlier. And they accidentally find a sarcophagus. It like falls. It could have killed them.
Yeah.
Short movie.
Well, I love, so they're talking about this is exposition kind of explaining for people like how mummification works, because not everybody would know how that detailed process goes. And the whole time, Jonathan is like faux golfing with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And I think Brendan Fraser's like, hey, if I ever die down here, make sure, don't put me down for mummification. That's weird. And Jonathan's like, me too. And he hits the wall, and that's what causes the cave-in to happen.
Yeah.
Classic
Jonathan.
Was the sarcophagus attached to the ceiling, or was it?
It was inside the statue of Anubis that they were below. Was my thing, what she thought was weird. She's
they're below Anubis.
This is either a very important person to be buried in Anubis or someone who's done something very naughty. When she said that, I was like,
naughty Joey.
Stop, girl. Don't say that.
There's a boy in my class. His name is Naughty Joey.
We find out the blue gold are scarabs, and they dig right into his shoe, climb up his body, and
into his brain.
Oh, it's not good. And then we cut back to, I almost said Rachel, Evie reading the sarcophagus, and she says, apparently it's Voldemort that's in there.
Yeah, I was like, is this his origin story?
He that shall not be named. And then she realizes the thing is a key, the box, right? And that's when the warden runs headfirst into the wall in front of them.
Which he did not deserve to die. I'm just going to say that right now.
I was bummed that he died because he was so much fun. I felt like there was a
was.
lot more they could have pulled out of that character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I feel like him and Benny were kind of the offset to each other. I don't think they could have continued to have those two characters together until the end.
If there was like a climactic battle between Benny and the warden.
Oh,
the two pieces of shit. There's actually a lot of sad deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said that was one of them, but I like your take.
Well, I just was like, he didn't have to die.
He was a fun character to have around. It was,
Yeah.
I did miss him the rest of the movie because, he provided something enjoyable.
Like, I was more attached to him than I was the Americans who
Or around a lot longer.
Yeah. And I just was like,
I do think the death of Burns
was
is one of the most terrifying, sad things that I've ever experienced as a kid.
Yeah.
Like when they step on his glasses, it's just like such a mean, because it's fucking Benny.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, that poor dude goes through the ringer, specifically him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Henderson's dead in like a second, but poor Burns has to like get his tongue and eyes ripped out and then live for a few days.
Experience it again.
Yeah.
that whole scene, that's probably the worst scene in the movie, like from planning to execution.
Which I guess, going back to my initial overall thoughts about it being a horror film, like I guess those scenes are what make it the horror film, like horror, but it's
there are horror aspects.
It's got
to it,
elements,
for sure.
like in the same way that Jurassic Park has some scary
Sure.
scenes, but it's definitely like an action adventure movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the warden's death scene where he runs into the wall, that's actually a really impressive stunt because what's happening is it's the actor who's actually on a cable, and the cable has been measured out to stop before he gets within a quarter of an inch of the wall. So the dude's literally running full blast at that wall, and a rope is pulling him literally a quarter inch away before he hits it.
But it's not the actor, it's a stunt double, right?
It's a stunt double, yeah.
Okay.
But like how
That's
like
crazy.
you measured this thing out, right? Because
He said, let me measure it myself real
I'm
quick.
sprinting head first towards a wall. That better catch me before I hit it.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Very
said, or
scary.
lawsuit.
Yeah.
I'll get paid way more than the extras if I hit this wall.
Oh, we forgot to mention that the stunt that went wrong with Brendan Fraser at the hanging. Because he actually got hanged and was rendered unconscious because he was actually being choked.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
Shut the front
It was
door.
like a big thing where he collapsed and they thought he was joking at first, but he had actually got knocked unconscious because he was hanging for real. And he actually told the stunt coordinators, like, hey, I want it to actually be a little tight around my neck so the close-ups of my face are like legit looking. But he ended up hanging himself for real.
The things we do for love.
The things we do for love. Our art, man. Our art.
This is when we find out about the salt acid, and then he finds scotch in the warden's bag, right? Digging around.
Stinky fella, but he had good taste.
And it's like there's like another little like jump scare almost moment where he's like, let's see what the warden had in his bag. And you think is Jonathan going to get the bugs?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Nope. Just some liquor. Some Glenlivet's, my dad's favorite scotch. I think it's scotch. Never drank it myself.
I think you're right.
And the Magi show up, guns blazing, as cops do. And it's the last one, I promise. And there's another good action scene, some tussling. I love the shot of Jonathan just taking swigs from the bottle and then occasionally shooting a guy.
And then Benny doing
Benny
the
just comes
classic.
up.
He takes a swig, but then does the very dramatic like turn and look at the other Magi come in.
And spits it in Jonathan's face.
Blows it out into his face.
Like, he sucks. Jonathan's so nice. Like, yeah, I'll party with you, even though we're enemies, you know?
Yeah.
Nope, can't even pull that off.
That's funny.
Benny does have that energy of someone everyone hates, but for whatever reason, like he's kind of fun to hang out with, but we all hate him, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But he would get into parties. Like, he's the guy that, like, he brings enough Xanax and weed to where you're like, all right, man, have a seat. And then,
Yeah, you're cool. Come on in. Damn it, he stole all our watches.
yeah, again. And Rick's handling himself, though. I love the scene. He ends up, like, getting his, like, the main Magi chops his gun away, right? But then he, like, rolls back, grabs a stick of fucking dynamite, and then, like, lights it in one smooth motion. And then I love the part where the Magi's like, no more blood will be shed here. And like, nah, you're scared of the dynamite, bro. No, we both got each other equally. And so
I'm going to leave you this morning. Leave the city in a day.
You have one day to leave.
you didn't kick enough ass to give them an ultimatum. You know, you can't just do that.
We killed at least 10 innocent people. None of the people who are causing this dig or
No.
in charge of this venture, just the low-level workers that they hired.
Yeah.
We have done our duty, sir.
If you want more unnamed characters to die, then continue what you are doing. What? But anyway, they run off feeling that they've done today's good deed, but also they're not trying very hard for somebody who's been doing this for 3,000 years.
Like, I think they got the hint, guys. Yeah, they got the
Yeah,
hint.
they got it.
Are they leaving yet? Oh, I bet they're leaving.
We're not even going to look.
I bet they're packing.
We're so scared.
Bet first thing in the morning, as soon as that sun rises, they're going to start packing. Yep. They're definitely not drinking still.
Nope. And then the Americans find a chest with a curse, specifically a box, Madison, and he reads it and says, "One who is undead is bound by sacred law to consummate this curse." He's going to have to kill all the people.
He's got to do his duty.
Everybody who he's bound. He has no choice but to kill everybody who opens this box. So if it was only one person that opened the box and he killed that person, he would be regenerated immediately. Is that the thing?
Yeah. Yep.
Just wondering.
That's how curses work, Chris. Yeah.
Duh. Then he would have all the jars at once. And then also at the same time, Evie opens the sarcophagus and he's all juicy still. And
Juicy.
Hashtag juicy.
hashtag slay, hashtag juicy.
slay.
Every time I saw Mr. Vosloo in that like chainmail booty shorts, juicy.
He did have some cake.
Yeah, he did.
For a priest.
It's looking like a snack.
And
Ooh, Arnold?
Yeah.
Imhotep. At the very end when he's got those like Hanes briefs on only.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's up?
It's like, all right, double cheeked up on a Sunday afternoon. Shit, all right.
In a sarcophagus.
If I'm going to spread the word of the underworld, I got to look good.
Gotta be clapping those cheeks, man.
Smooth.
And there's claw marks inside there. And it's where he leaves his calling card. Death is only the beginning.
Hey, guys. Death is only the beginning.
As I've told you many times.
Yeah.
Buy my book.
If I'm
Book of
lying,
the
I'm
Dead.
dying. Death is only the beginning.
Book of the Dead on shelves now. Americans,
The New York Times bestseller, Book of the Dead.
the Americans find the Book of the Dead. And that's when they say the line, it wasn't the curator. It was the Egyptologist. Fucking wild. He says in this line, Imhotep, or no, it was Evie reading more about him. I don't know where the fuck she read it, but she says he got a little too friendly with the Pharaoh's daughter, is what she says in this line. So I don't fault anybody for thinking the Nox in the Moon is also his daughter.
No, I don't think she says it. She says something like he did a very bad thing. He was arrested for doing something, and then I think isn't it Rick O'Connell that says like sounds like he got too busy with the Pharaoh's daughter. Like he doesn't know what happened.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, he says it as like a joke. Like, oh, it sounds like he had a little fun with the Pharaoh's daughter. Like he's not saying it as a fact, but like you wouldn't do this unless he did something.
But I mean, just to like spew like historical, like that wouldn't be that weird for a pharaoh to be doing shit with his daughter, which sounds disgusting.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't be. It's like a back in the day type thing.
Got to keep the bloodline pure.
Targaryen style.
yeah. House of the Dragon.
I did this annoying thing where I put the quote marks there, the quotations, but not who said it. So you could be right. You're 90. I'm 99%. You're right. But anyway, Evie easily steals the book from the doctor in the next scene. He's sleeping. He's like asleep with his arm around the book, and she just grabs it. Like, take this.
We've all read a book and just fell asleep because we were just comfy.
She steals the key from Jonathan just as easily, but he's probably drunk.
He's drunk.
And then he's like, don't read that. And she says, no harm ever came from reading a book. Bunch of harm comes, right?
Not in my America.
Mm-hmm. And then like the wind whistles through it. I love the line because at that moment I was thinking, God, they're really making the good use of that sound effect. And at that moment, Rick O'Connell says, that happens a lot around here.
Yeah, that was a good acknowledging the comedy there.
And then the doctor wakes up, the Egyptologist wakes up really upset.
Read from the book.
I didn't like this line because it implies throughout it, Evie knows more than him. But in this moment, she doesn't. Maybe it's her rationalism.
Yeah, it's her
from
lack
caring.
of respect for the superstition of the curse.
True.
Whereas this guy definitely has, because he's okay with opening the chest because he's like, well, we're not going to resurrect that dude.
Yeah.
Right.
But then there she is resurrecting the dude. That's why he's like, oh, fuck, please don't.
Please stop.
I said, no.
Yeah, bummer for them. Because if she hadn't done that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that Evie basically she starts what could be the countdown to the apocalypse, right? And no one ever brings that up to her. No one's ever like, why'd you read that fucking book?
Well, that,
Evie.
pointing fingers doesn't solve anything.
No,
Steve.
it doesn't. But like, I feel like that would happen.
No, I would
Especially
have brought it up because I'm a petty bitch.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's right.
Actually, I respect the filmmakers with having the restraint of not doing that.
Also, at the end of this movie, how do they just accidentally walk in this giant cavern full of treasure that none of them found the first time we were here?
Right? Yeah.
I was super weirded out at the end of this movie this time.
They got
there it is.
They got super hung up on that wall with the book in it, you know?
Yeah, I was looking at the blue gold bugs. I'm drinking all that scotch. We did get shot at. That's fair. But anyway, yeah, she reads from the book. It's not a good sign. He's really upset about it. And immediately, locusts, because he says the 10 plagues of Egypt or however many plagues. I'm not a Bible reader. But there's locusts for sure. What have we done? Right?
Oh, shit.
That's when Burns' glasses get stepped on. It's one of the saddest things in all of cinema. And it's fucking Benny, of course. And scarabs bust out and like they start like spewing like lava from the ground and start chasing them. There's lots of them. Evie accidentally goes through a secret passageway because like Jonathan and Rick jump off to the side on this like elevated platform that's not connected to the stairs. And she's like safe in a corner for some reason. I'm not sure why.
It's an elevated corner that's also not on the path.
That's not connected either.
I don't think so.
And she like leans back and goes through a secret passageway right where Burns and the mummy are, unfortunately. She finds Burns standing there and she's like, oh, thank God. Like he's going all Blair Witch, just staring at the corner. Well, not staring. We shortly find out.
He took my eyes.
And my tongue.
And my tongue.
But the mummy looks at Evie and he says, Anoxunamun. And
what does he say?
Anoxunamun in his little deep mummy voice.
Yeah.
Death is only the beginning.
And then one of the red shirt guys gets eaten by scarabs. And
bastard.
There's a moment where Rick runs into the room. He's like, come on, Evie. And he doesn't notice the mummy standing there, but she's like points at him. And the mummy does like the raw, and then Rick just screams back at him. I love it so much.
So good.
He's so brave.
Yeah.
Shoots him with the fucking shotgun.
Such a good shot.
This might be a good time to interject. The director of this movie really liked Brendan Fraser because the director, to quote, says, hates boring macho action heroes, but Brendan is not that at all. He's a lot of fun and can be really charming and lovable. And like he went on to say like Rick does not take himself seriously, like this character. And so that's why Brendan Fraser beat Brad Pitt, beat I forget the other movie, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck,
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, just... And I feel like that scene in particular, just the screaming back, like, I don't know. I couldn't see any of them doing that in a playful, funny way. So
they wouldn't have pulled it off as well, for sure.
I just had to interject there with that comment.
Because that's like a belly laugh moment when he does this. It's so good.
But also it's like he's so brave for doing like that being his reaction, you know? It works on all the levels and it's really cool. But yeah. The Magi are also there. That's when we find that out. Like they're like, oh, you guys did it. I told you to leave. I thought you were leaving.
You did it. Y'all fucking did it this time, didn't you?
I gave you a day to leave, and you didn't. It's been a day, and you're still here. And we come back, and things are worse.
I come back to check on you to see if maybe you still needed your dynamite packed up or anything.
This poor bastard doesn't have tongue or eyes.
But then Rick is like, well, y'all did have 3,000 years and y'all just now fucked up. So who's really to blame here?
Yeah. We're all trying to figure out who's responsible for this.
If your boat operation had went better, maybe we wouldn't be here.
That's true. Yeah.
But you had old dummy on fire.
But Benny goes back and he's just lost in the crypt, right?
Yes. Yeah. Benny's lost. He runs into the mummy. He starts praying. And this is, I can remember when I was watching it last night, this was the scene that I remembered like word for word, even though I don't speak most of the languages. It's just burned into my brain. By the way, I don't think that was actually Chinese or Mandarin because it said gibberish.
It's gibberish. Yeah.
But every other language was real. So I just thought that was interesting. I obviously didn't know that as a kid. But he prays in like 4 languages. And finally, when he gets to Hebrew, the mummy stops in his tracks. The language of the slaves? Maybe, I don't know why he's Yoda now. And he says,
anti-Semitic I am.
Maybe he could use him, right? So yeah, he needs his sacred jars back. Back in Cairo, a storm's a brewing.
Did you like the super over the top like mummy's hand erupts from the ground as they're escaping from the city?
I fucking loved it actually. Just to let them know I'm coming.
Just to have a little extra period on
Benny's just walking up the stairs like, what are you doing? Oh, they're gonna see my hand and be terrified. It's a thing I do.
The mummy's like, give me your hand.
Don't
and Benny's
be.
like, fuck. Shit.
Death is only the beginning.
Only the beginning death is. Is this the CGI sky that you were talking about with the storm that was brewing?
Yeah.
Dude, we have gone through 3 CGI skies.
Really?
But this is one of them, yeah.
This was the one that I made most notable of.
Rick's packing. He wants to.
You're goddamn right he is.
Yeah.
You goddamn right.
Evie knows.
Yes. Huge cock. But also, he's filling up a suitcase with clothes. But Evie wants to stay and stop the monster. To your point, Steve, nobody brings up that she's the one that did it, but she takes responsibility. She's like,
does.
No, we have to stop the monster. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere.
We set him free.
He's like,
We?
I love the line. I'm sure it was intentional, but it's really goofy. She's like, he's going to destroy the entire world. And Rick says something like, well, that's not my problem. And it's like,
Yeah, I love that.
it definitely is.
Yeah. Sorta.
But anyway, she's trying to convince him to stay, or at least that she's no matter what going to stay. And he's like, fine, I'm leaving then. And this is where we meet Winston.
Some bloody idiot spilled his drink.
Because he steps through the fountain.
I love this dude.
So good. He's this drunk guy from the Royal Air Force. And he was a big deal in World War I. And now he doesn't feel like his life has any purpose. All of his buddies died in the war. The Great Wall. Yeah.
The great one.
By the way, it's interesting to me from a writing perspective. Like
To introduce this character so late.
Well, Winston, yes, but also even the Mummy. Like in a way, it's over an hour in. Like this is the midpoint, and the actual like plot for the movie has just begun. In a way, like the Mummy has been released, and like we have to stop him. Right? It's just an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most like screenwriting gurus that are all full of shit would tell you like around 30 minutes, you need your plot point 1 needs to occur. Like what's the purpose of the movie?
Act 2 needs to begin 30, 35 minutes in.
Yeah. But now at this point, it's almost what would normally be the climax is like where things are really kicking off. And the only reason I bring that up is because to say like they're wrong because this movie is like perfectly paced and like famously successful and awesome. So,
but I mean, the bare end of this movie,
bare ass end
happens quite quick, not quickly, but I feel like they did kind of encapsulate
Rush in Act 3
a little bit, but it worked.
Sure, I know what you're like. From the time like Winston comes back until the Mummy is taken care of, maybe.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah,
Benny and Imhotep get to Burns. This is one of the only scene I hate. Like everybody's down drinking at the bar. It makes no sense. Like you're an asshole. Your friend has his tongue and eyes ripped off, right? And everyone leaves him. He clearly can't get anywhere by himself. And you're just all downstairs like, poor buddy, poor friend.
Poor guy.
and Rick's like, how's he doing?
Not good. I'm down here getting drunk looking for prostitutes.
Shit.
I don't know. I'm down here.
But also, so that's weird. But also, like, there's this whole scene where like Imhotep went full Man in the Iron Mask, even though he can turn into sand tornadoes, and they're like tormenting the guy and sitting and having tea. Like, I understand that it's cinematic, but it makes no sense.
Yeah.
The prince thanks you for your hospitality.
And your eyes.
And your eyes. And your tongue.
And your sweet ass he's about to take. What? Oh, he's going to take it.
He's gonna
rip us right off.
You ever had your cheeks clapped by a mummy?
You're gonna get sand in places you never knew you had.
And just because he's a mummy, don't expect him to wrap it.
Oh no.
And you know he's juicy.
Yes.
After 3,000 years, still juicy.
I have a theory that the reason why they do this to poor Burns is because that actor has a really good death scream, and he gets to do it like 3 times.
He dies. They're like, that's not death scream, Steve.
That's that ass being taken scream.
You're right. They might have rewritten it like, man, you have a good death scream. You and Wilhelm are right at the
My
top.
initial thought was, they didn't have the money to have him sit in full like the CGI to do that. Like they didn't have the money to have him sit there in full CGI, like the Mummy.
Oh, the Mummy. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure what happened.
Yeah, because Burns doesn't have any eyeballs, so he wouldn't even know.
But also, okay.
I guess he snuck in through the hotel.
He's walking through the city. He's hunting.
Nothing alarming about the Man in the Iron Mask.
Real quick though, so the Mummy has Burns' eyes, and
Correct.
Burns has shitty vision.
Oh,
So
the Mummy need glasses?
Well, I don't think he's taking his eyes as they are, but he's taking the essence of the eyes to revitalize his own body. So he's not necessarily like these are 1-to-1 Burns' eyes.
Okay.
He just took eyes, and that gave him like plus 10 mana, which allowed him to like.
Yeah. But I like your idea
well,
where
I
he's
was
like
gonna
all
say
squinty.
the whole confusion with whether he recognized Evie or whatever. Maybe he just can't fucking see. And he's like, my girlfriend, you're the only one who looks like a blurry woman.
You have a woman's shape.
Yeah, you
and
have
you're the
to
only
be my
woman
girlfriend.
in this movie other than a Knox and a Moon.
Yeah.
Or let's be honest, he's no better than a man, and he saw Rachel Weisz.
I mean, yeah.
I do miss a Knox and a
Even
Moon,
if the
but
motherfucker's
damn.
3,000 years old, you can see Rachel Weisz's, yeah.
I saw Enemy at the Gates.
Also, just
We all know
realize
that
that
one.
Rachel Weisz is the only woman in this film.
Yeah, other than a Knox and a Moon, yeah.
Yeah. And even she's like in it for what? Less than 5 minutes?
And
then,
naked.
And then a mummy.
Yeah. And then a mummy.
And then a mummy.
But before that, she's
wrapped up.
mommy.
Even her stunt doubles are dudes.
Literally.
I'm racking my brain. There is not a woman in sight. You're right.
Unless there's
literally
like,
the whole movie.
I think there might be like some extras, but they're like very few and
But
far
even
between.
the like extra zombies at
Yeah,
the
like
very end.
dudes.
Hotep.
Yeah.
I think those are all men.
They're all dudes.
Well, I think when the locusts attack the city, I think there's women in the market. But that's like it.
Well, good for all in the market. Shop.
In the market.
Yeah, getting food.
Women do be shopping.
Yeah.
But yeah, Burns, he goes out for goodsies this time.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. But down at the bar, for some reason, the second plague of Egypt commences, and the liquor turns to blood. Which, like, because they're all doing shots and they spit it out like, oh, it tastes like blood. And he's like, oh, yeah. And the water
Midsummer.
turns to blood. And I was like, but you weren't drinking water. Anyway, I think he meant liquid.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But
It's
that's
a small
not
thing.
that's not what the biblical text is.
Midsummer.
My favorite part about this scene is like right before this happens, you see a couple British army dudes in the background, and the one guy's like, "Looks like a storm's coming," and then fire falls. On them.
Fireballs
Oh, just a storm's coming.
falling all around like
Oh, just
giant.
a typical day in Britain. Oh, it's coming over here to Egypt.
Pip pip cheerio.
Yeah.
I hate when the fireballs fall.
Oh, sunny England. Everyone loves sunny England.
Bonnie. They the fireballs are falling all around. They confront Imhotep. Luckily, a cat scares him away. He's not a cat person, this Imhotep. In the next scene, we find out that the curator from the beginning of the movie is part of the Magi. And he basically, Imhotep's going to want to sacrifice Evie. He's got inside knowledge.
This is where we got the barn door wipe, Madison, just so you know.
Ooh.
Like into the curator.
Well, it goes up and you see the exterior of like whatever the front of that building is. The historical natural history
museum thing,
museum.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's that title.
Nice.
Swipes.
So yeah, he's chosen her to sacrifice to grow a Noxunamun back, which is interesting.
Here, do you want to let them out?
Yeah.
Eric is here. That's why. Be free, Weens. See your best friend.
Be free, Waynes.
Oh.
Was Andy here too? Is that why he's barking? Oh, Andy is here.
Oh, Andy's here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be quick.
So Rick locks Evie away and goes to get the Egyptologist. That's what they decide. He's got to. This is where they figure out everybody who opened the chest is in danger. So they go to get the Egyptologist, but first he makes sure that she's damn safe. He throws her in there bodily and he intimidates. He is pretty manly at multiple times. Like he intimidates all the Americans into watching her, and they're like, "Yeah, for sure, man.
Sure, man.
I'll see what you can do."
He is an American. Am I wrong?
No,
Yeah,
he is
he is.
for sure, but he's like above it. He's like
Sure.
he's a well-traveled one, you know.
Yeah.
He's in the
Yeah.
French Legion,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
French Foreign Legion.
Yeah, that one.
So
The one,
for a
that
fight.
the one that takes foreigners.
But they go to find Chamberlain, the Egyptologist.
They do, and he's currently running around all scared and shit, like carrying the book. He runs into Benny, who's like tossing the Egyptologist's apartment, and doesn't go well for him. He throws a chair at Benny, which is super cool.
I love it when he throws the chair. Just
It's
that's
so fucking money.
funny.
It's so money, baby.
So cool.
But no, already killed the Egyptologist. The mummy already got the book and the jar, and he unleashes a bunch of locusts from his mouth. Those are dirty ones.
I said hashtag bad breath.
But back in the two Americans he left to watch Evie, they're dum-dums, and they split up. They wouldn't have done anything together.
I want a
but-
bourbon.
Yeah, me too.
With
Give
a
me
side of bourbon.
and a bourbon shirt.
With a chase of bourbon. And can I get a bourbon ball cap?
Yeah, and a bourbon T-shirt says, "I went to go get some bourbon, but all I got was his stupid T-shirt." All right,
Yeah.
man, I got it. Damn. And then he gets sucked off through the window, which sounds awesome, but it's not. He dies.
I mean, out of all of them, he goes quickest. So
he does. He's probably embarrassed.
I did like the shadow reveal of his body going.
Yep.
Yes.
Flat.
Very cool. Very cool.
From grape to raisin real quick.
We got nice.
Nice.
Oh, God damn. And then we get that like bug crawl through the wounds.
Yeah.
But into his mouth and he like eats it.
Crunch.
Really cool. I love that shit, man. And then he pours through Evie's keyhole as as sand. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Really cool shot. I'm just saying I loved it.
I'm saying now. Put in your keyhole. Don't mind me to
And I love
it on in.
I love that she just went to sleep.
Yeah.
Like he threw her in the room. We're all going to die. I got to go. I'll be gone 20 minutes. I'm going to rescue this guy. And she's like, I'm going to angrily take a nap. Whole ass nap with the covers up and everything. You know what I mean? Like not even like fully clothed on the bed, ready to go.
Whole ass nap.
But like under the covers.
Like got ready for bed.
Yeah.
Said,
Combed her
this.
hair.
The world is ending. Fuck this. I need a nap.
Not my problem.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out unrested. I can tell you that much. God damn it. I got to look good. Anyway.
He starts kissing her and his mouth does that thing.
He does. Why does it turn back to gross?
I don't know.
It would have been a good kiss if it wasn't gross.
I don't understand why. Was it just to make it weird?
I think it was.
Ooh.
It's like that the kiss kill in The Last of Us that Steve loves so much. But then Rick comes bustling in with a cat because he knows this guy hates pussy.
I knew that was coming one way or another. I knew it was coming.
You thought you'd gotten past it like safely.
No, I knew it was coming.
Oh, you still did?
I did.
So did.
But they decide they need to find the gold book, the book of Amun-Ra, the book of the living, I assume. It's the opposite of the book of the dead. And that's what's going to stop him.
Yeah, they counteract each other.
She thinks she can find it, right? Imhotep has like a whole cult of zombies now. And they're marching around going, Imhotep.
He said, boom. Look at my zombies. My
like
zombie
this?
gang.
It's the last plague, the plague of boils and sores.
Okay, so this is the big extra that fucked up. And like the director, like specifically on the DVD commentary, shits on this dude so hard. But the extra that's specifically right next to Benny in the shot where Benny's in the crowd with them.
And he's like creeped out by them, yeah.
If you look, that dude's eyes have been digitally whited out.
Oh, yeah.
Because they could not get this dude to not look at the camera. And they were like, again. All right, fuck it. We'll just take his eyes out and post.
Shit.
Right after we fix Evie's nipples.
Right.
You bastard.
Free the nipples.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Free the eyes.
Almost ruined the movie with that move. Jack.
You want to hit? Free the nip.
They decide. Anyway, the people are marching around with their boils and sores, which is never cool. And she realizes the gold book is back in Hamunaptra. Dang, shouldn't have left there.
Under the statue of Horus.
And it's in Horus. Dang, they swapped them. And then Jonathan has to quickly, on his feet, pretend to be in the cult to survive.
That was funny.
That was funny.
Love that moment. That guy's awesome, John Hannah.
Yeah, he's
So
great.
funny.
Really good physical comedian. But he hops in the car. God, I want one of those 1920s
It was
convertibles.
nice.
Don't you want one of those?
Those things are huge. That thing's a huge ass
Those
car.
motherfuckers are long, but also
Yeah.
small.
Like, can you imagine just rolling up? Like,
If I came up to your house and was like, beep, beep, you would go. You wouldn't even ask where.
You're like, I'm here to podcast. Like, no.
no. We're here to chitty chitty bang bang that shit. Let's go.
Hell yeah, Steve. Me and you chitty chitty bang banging in my car. As we do. I'll be the sand, you be the keyhole.
Just sneaking in.
Just sneaking in. And then they have to
Hole small enough to top me.
they have to drive through the slaves, which they do as best they can. They start fighting them off.
What a
But
phrase you just said.
then, I mean, that's what happened.
We got to drive through the slaves.
Or the zombies.
Zombies.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
That would have
The
been a better
mummy
word.
zombies.
Yeah, the zombies. They get he says in that right before this in the scene, it's the Magi guy. I think he's like, he's made them his slaves.
Yeah.
So that's why I wrote that. Just to be clear.
You're validated.
I don't just drop that wherever.
You're validated.
Yeah.
He does say that.
Thank
this
you.
is canon.
And then they get the last American though. Like they're just like, oh, fuck that dude. He's just sitting in the
guy
back.
who always has his hand in his jacket for
But
some
also,
reason.
He would have been to fight him off.
He wasn't doing shit in the
No.
back of the car.
He's like,
No.
he's like, get him,
damn.
guys.
Yeah.
You got this.
Take him.
Hey,
He's not doing shit.
He's really going through some stuff. Madison, his friends are dead.
That's true. He's sad boy.
He's sad. He can't get his hand out of his pocket. Like really, he just had some honey in there, and he's been too embarrassed to tell people he can't get his hand back out.
They get the American. He kills like 12 of the zombies before he runs out of bullets, and the mummy walks up and gets him. But
Dum, dum, dum.
all of our protagonists are also cornered by the zombies and the mummy. And I love this scene where Evie translates better than Benny, who's translating for the audience's benefit, clearly. Because I forget, but he says something like, for all time, ever and ever. And she's like, it's for all eternity, idiot.
That's basically what I said.
It's a synonym.
Why are you being pedantic to Benny?
But basically, the mummy offers to spare her friends if she goes with him willingly, and she does that. But then he's like, kill them all. Classic villain twist. But luckily, Rick's a big fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they hop into a sewer. I was trying to think of a fucking sewer joke. Back off. I knew I had one.
You got there, buddy. You got it.
I knew I had one in me. And the curator goes down like a G, but pointlessly, I might add.
Very pointlessly.
Yeah.
Just hop in the sewer, my guy. No.
No, I got it.
No time. They're shambling towards you. You have plenty. No, there's no time. Leave without me.
Write a book about me. Look, I'm old. All right, I'm going down anyway. It's my only chance to kill zombies.
It's going to be so sick.
That's a fair point. I don't know why you sound like Tony.
Remember me and Mr. Deeds?
That's true. I forgot about his role in Mr. Deeds. But anyway, they get help. They have to get to Hamanoptera fast enough to save Evie before he completes the ritual. So they have to enlist the help of Winston, the pilot from World War I, who's always drunk but down to clown. And he's only willing to join in the odds that he might die in this mission. He's much like the curator in that regard.
Which he's living his life out there in the middle of that little sand dune.
Yeah, he is.
I was like, damn, a little record player.
He's got a lawn chair, a record player, an umbrella, a little servant, I guess.
He's out there listening to WAP on his little record player.
Yeah.
There's some hoes in this house. There's some hoes in this house.
I want to gag. I want to joke. What's up, guys? But then when we see Jonathan and the Magi strapped to the wings of the plane.
Clearly one of them is enjoying themselves more than the other.
But Magi's having a ball.
Oh, yeah.
I can fly. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Oded Fair, or you can just call him Oded Fair. That's the actor's name.
Sure. Whatever. Or the Magi.
Or Ardith Bay, the character's name.
But they never
Put some
said that
respect.
once.
No.
I think they said Ardith once.
Maybe.
Ardith once.
I thought it was just talking Shakespearean.
Oded Fair is a Geo, right? That guy kicks ass. I love that actor.
But Evie and Benny were riding the tornado.
Oh my God.
Like they get chucked out of it when they get to Hamanoptera.
I have to
said-
get a new job.
I was like, I didn't make the connection ever until this point that's how that motherfucker travels.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's how that man travels. He just turns into a fucking sand
That's why it's
twister.
so weird that he wore the.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's why it's so weird he wore the disguise to get into the hotel. Just tornado in there, buddy.
Or if
you can
you're
do that.
sand, I mean, shit, not
Sand
like
in
that
the
shit
keyhole.
ain't anywhere, you know?
Sand in the keyhole move.
You know,
That's
he
what
just
I'm saying.
likes to be dramatic.
He does.
He's a drama queen.
I bought this mask. I need to use it.
Looks really cool.
I bought this mask 3,001 years ago, and I haven't used it once.
I've never had a reason to wear it. Damn it.
Until now.
Now I've got a second chance.
Plus, I like to pretend I'm Leonardo DiCaprio from that movie.
From the movie that doesn't release until 70 years later.
I'm a magician. I watched it on a bootleg copy.
But yeah, Evie and Benny are like, he like yeets them out of the
Yeah,
twister.
we're here. And then he raises a sand tornado at the plane, and he does like the mouth move. It's ridiculous and amazing and campy and awesome. Where it cuts to him briefly, and he's like, just to mimic, to make sure you know that that's why the sand monster's doing that. It's because he's doing that.
And I love that Rick O'Connell shoots the sand.
Yeah,
it's one of the.
What else are you gonna do?
It always makes me laugh. Where he's like, I'm gonna shoot your sand face.
Fuck your sand face.
Also, Brendan Fraser in the aviator hat with the flaps.
You down with it?
Oh yeah, big down.
I want to see him
Big
in that
down.
and nothing else. Just the flaps.
Just the flaps.
Those are handles, damn it.
Those are handles.
For a good grip.
Put on your goggles. You can need them.
You gonna need them.
Damn.
You gonna need them.
But Evie kisses the mummy to distract him, and then it works kind of. They are able to successfully crash land the plane briefly, at least. And she's all happy until the explosion happens. And Winston's so happy to be dead. He's just smiling in his death. And of course, they landed in the one tiny pile of quicksand in the world.
Right.
That was so unnecessary for it to also be quicksand.
No,
Yeah, I know.
they could have just left him there.
It doesn't add tension or anything. I guess they needed to bury the Winston.
I guess.
They needed to have that like pro colonizer shot.
They said, you know what? We have like $4,000 left for another shot. You know, another cool special effects shot.
Or maybe it was like a throwback to Indiana Jones or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Why put quicksand in
It
there?
was very unnecessary, but I'm here for
I
it.
didn't hate it. Yeah. So they're
And also, quicksand doesn't actually exist in deserts. That's not like a thing.
I don't think quicksand doesn't do that ever.
No, quicksand is usually in like places
Swamps.
near water and it's swampy. It's not actually like you're not going to find that in a desert.
Yeah, it's
Movie
how Artax
magic.
died.
Dude, don't do that. I'm still not over that.
Artax was too sad to make it out.
Come on, go. Come on, you can do it.
You stupid fucking horse.
Don't die. Madison, do you know what we're talking about at
No.
all? Okay.
Never ending story?
Never ending story. No.
Well, one of the saddest scenes of your life is still
seriously
ahead.
One of the
Who's
saddest.
in it?
Some assholes.
Oh.
It's a kid's
Okay.
movie.
Billy Crystal at one point.
Oh, is that where the
Never ending story.
Yeah, but isn't it like I'm picturing
the dog, the big flying white dog?
It's like a white and blue I'm
Atreyu?
picturing I'm picturing the
Get
movie
on my
poster.
back.
Yeah, I'm picturing the cover.
And
I'm
it-
sure
Connery?
I'm sure I've seen it.
There's like a bunch of
When I was
shots of
younger.
the kid on the dog thing going, yeah.
It's a
I'm
fucking
sure-
classic,
I'm
Madison.
sure I've seen it at some point.
It's going to break your heart.
When
though.
that horse dies, holy shit.
But they're trying to get into the crypt. Rick ends up cutting a scarab out of Jonathan, a callback to how the warden died. But luckily, they're able to get it out of Jonathan, which would be like a huge wound. But he's just like, owie.
He just flicks it out of his
And this is where Imhotep, real quickly, everything wraps up. Like Madison was talking about earlier, it all happens really fast. But Imhotep raises his priests as mummy warriors. There's a bunch of cool fights. Rick,
That mummy has like weird like noises.
I forget, did we mention, just to backtrack real quick, when they're going to approach Winston about taking the plane to the place, Winston was like, what's gonna happen? And Rick was like, oh, save the damsel in distress and save the world. And I just thought, again, bringing attention to like the obvious tropes that this movie is like going along with. But I had to mention that.
it was a little meta, a little wink at the audience there.
Wink,
Yeah.
wink, nudge, nudge.
Take some of the steam out. And this is where they casually just find shitloads of treasure that they were searching really hard for earlier and never
Well,
found.
they had to shoot that one mirror. That's why they missed it.
Here it is.
They didn't shoot that one mirror.
I'll be goddamned.
I'll be goddamn.
Treasure was here the whole dang time.
That's the damnedest treasure I've ever seen.
If I'd have found this earlier, I wouldn't have opened the box. I said, don't open it. This is fucking ridiculous.
Isn't this a kick in the pants?
Anyhoozle.
But Benny's happy to be there.
Benny's like, holy shit.
God damn, it's Christmas
I'm
time
gonna,
for Benny.
I'm gonna start loading up these motherfucking camels. Harmless treasure was there the whole time, by the way. Pretty sure nothing bad would have happened.
Yeah.
But Evie's strapped to the table, not in a good way. There's a mummy corpse there as well. And it's a Nox in the moon.
Yeah, this whole scene, like everything at this like ceremony where they're trying to resurrect the Nox and Moon took 9 days to film. So Rachel Weisz spent 9 full days strapped to a table.
Damn.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we get a lot of intercutting between them.
Can you imagine?
Well,
No.
yes, actually.
All right.
They find Horus, the statue, which is where the Book of Amun-Ra is, but also it intercuts with Benny loading up a camel with the treasure, and then he kind of looks like, I've got enough treasure, I'm scot free. But this is where his greed is his demise. If he'd left right then, he'd be fine. But he's like, but there's a whole lot of treasure still left in there. I got more bags. I got more camels. I know what to do.
Load them bitches up.
They find the Book of Amun-Ra. And this is where the Magi tries to act like a hero. What's his name, Steve?
Ardith.
Woo, Ardith.
Ardith
He's
Bay.
like, no, it'll be cool.
It'd be cool if I sacrifice myself so you guys can succeed.
I have face tats. I can't look like a bitch.
In the director's commentary, the scene where they're like mowing down all the zombies.
Oh, because he took the plane gun?
Yeah, he's got the plane gun. And apparently, in the director's commentary, Steven Soderbergh was saying how that scene went on like way longer, where they were just like mowing down
I wish they
tons
would have
and
left
tons
it.
and tons of mummies. And they said they took it out because they were like worried audience would start to feel bad for the mummies.
Oh,
Definitely not,
yeah.
but hilarious.
Like people are going to start rooting for the mummies because they're getting their asses
yeah, they
handed
do
to
look
them.
so sad.
Did we get to the part where Rick uses Ardith's face to light the match for the dynamite?
We haven't yet, but that was a fun
That was
part.
right before this,
Yeah.
right before he decides to sacrifice himself. Yeah, he's like, and like you can see the Magi look like, hey,
Hey, that hurt.
owie. But yeah, Rick gets a fucking sword, which is cool. He just grabs
So
it right off the
sick.
statue.
A sword.
So
And
sick.
I'm a sword guy
Oh, I'm
from
a-
way back. Are you a sword girly?
I love swords. I have two. I have two swords.
Do you really?
What are their names?
I have a cut.
Smoked
don't-
and justice.
They don't have names, but I have a cutlass and then I have a knight's dagger.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been saving up for a Dark Sister. The sword of
the sword.
Damon Targaryen.
Nice. No, but I love swords. Swords are so cool.
I love swords as well. But so does Rick, because he grabs one and he starts fighting off all these motherfuckers.
Very fun choreography with the sword fight.
Yeah.
Jonathan needs the key to open the book, which is in the robes of the mummy, Imhotep. So
Of course.
that's not cool. And Evie's just like, it's in. He's got it in his jacket. Get it.
I'm on the slab.
His breast pocket.
Also, he looks strangely good in those briefs.
He's like, he got a big fat ass.
Why is he wearing chainmail briefs?
You guys leave. Let's just see what happens.
Also, ow. Chainmail briefs?
He's gonna chafe.
He's got a chastity
If he
belt.
wasn't made of sand already,
He
he would
better
have
be
chafed.
clean shaved down there because that
Talc.
would be.
Oh yeah, yanking them hairs.
I am talc.
And this was when Jonathan accidentally summons the tougher mummies. So these are actually kick-ass mummies with swords. I think they're the
We call
pharaoh's
them
guards.
daddies. No.
Yeah, they're daddy. They're mummies and daddies. It's true.
That's awesome.
But they run around. Rick mostly runs because these are real scary ones, and they're like run up the fucking walls and shit.
I know. I have written Spider-Man ? These motherfuckers acting like Spider-Man.
But Evie tells Jonathan, if you finish the passage, you'll be able to control them, idiot. And so he keeps trying to do that, but he can't decipher one of the symbols, and she has to help him while she's being choked out by Anaxundamun. She has to help him translate it. Amephis, I think is what she says. Doesn't matter. Eventually, he succeeds and tells him to kill Anaxundamun, and it's heartbreaking, honestly, because you get to see Imhotep lose her yet again, even though she was all scary and stabby this time. It wasn't her fault.
You hate to see mummy on mummy hate crime.
Not good. But Ricky, that's my friend. Yeah. He begins fighting Imhotep in earnest now. And that's when she finally opens the book and reads from it and makes him mortal. Like it's like this chariot runs through him and you're like, oh, but he's fine. It like takes his soul away.
Immortality.
And he comes back all confident. But then at this point,
So is there another version of him in the afterlife that's like, oh man, that sucked when I got pulled away by the
I miss
chariots.
you.
I miss my other body.
he like daps him up when he gets down there. But no, even the second time he dies, he says again, death is only the beginning.
Death is only the beginning.
That's my calling card.
Yep. It's only the beginning.
Damn it. But Benny, being greedy with more gold, he flips and being lazy. he takes a break because it really outdoes him. And he flips a lever to close the entire tomb.
He hits the master switch because there was somebody who said how like the pharaohs had a self-destruct switch at some point in the beginning to like bury the whole city.
That's great writing.
And
they did
of course,
mention it.
Benny throws his treasure on the master switch.
Oh, I was always wondering what that was. I didn't realize that was a callback to something earlier.
Yeah.
Nice. I forgot about that. Good catch. And then Jonathan drops the Book of the Living like an idiot. Solid gold, amazing artifact.
Yeah, and then Evie goes back and is like, Jonathan, you fucking idiot. What the? And then he's like, no, come on, let's go. And then it plays in the opposite when he's
in the treasure room.
Can we just no? And Evie's like, no, let's go.
Benny doesn't make it. And Rick...
He doesn't. Benny does not make it.
Benny doesn't make it.
Well, I mean, literally, he's crawling. And then Rick tries to save him. He's like, he's gonna. He's a good person, even though you're a complete piece of shit. I don't want to see you smushed or eaten by bugs. Whatever's going to happen. I'm not sure. One of those things. But no, he's like, oh, but he's not sad. He's not that good of a person.
No.
Goodbye, Benny.
Goodbye, Benny.
I got so much anxiety when Benny was like in that chamber and the ceiling's coming down on him and he barely like kind of makes it out to the staircase. Like, do
you ever think to yourself, like, I wouldn't even have tried? I mean, like the first time when Benny crawls under the closing door and he barely makes it.
Oh yeah,
I would have been like, I'm not gonna make it because I'd rather get smothered or die of hunger and like lack of water than get squished. Like getting squished is my worst fear.
A tube of toothpaste.
Yeah, I don't want to be popped like a pimple in fucking Egypt.
Because I don't know what would be more painful.
What do you mean, dying of thirst?
Well, I mean, if you get smushed, it's like instant almost. I
guess. I don't know.
But at the same time, like
it probably feels like an eternity in that first few inches.
But also, then what if you make it out like? What if you make it like halfway out?
Exactly.
And then it's like
worse.
I can't do that.
Worse.
That would be.
Couldn't do that.
Like just your ankies.
No, not my ankies.
Not the ankies.
Now I'm gonna die in the dark without my ankies.
The worst.
I need those.
I need those.
But yeah, Benny doesn't make it. He gets eaten by buggies.
Yeah, bug dinner.
Painfully and slowly.
So what's worse, getting eaten by buggies or smushed like...
Buggies, probably.
Bugs.
Buggies would be pretty bad.
Tiny little bites, thousands of them at once. And they're making that screech noise. I hate bugs.
No, thank you.
I have a bugophobia.
Buffets open, boys.
That's all the bugs.
Num, 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 num.
Num, 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 num.
And then the whole city crumbles. Like
I'm going for seconds.
They just keep a running and everything keeps happening. It's never over. But outside, they find all their camels, the gold, which they don't realize is there, I don't think yet. But
No.
we see a twinkle as the audience. We know.
We get a twinkle.
After they fuck, they're going to go unpack the camels. And
Oh,
be like,
100%.
holy shit.
Oh yeah, Jonathan's gonna be there too.
That's how they pay for that
During
big ass. That's how they pay for that big ass house in the sequel.
Yeah.
And the Magi's alive. I am fine.
Yeah, apparently he was supposed to be killed, but Stephen Sommers liked working with Oded Fehr so much that he rewrote the script like while they were shooting to make him live so that he could be in a sequel if they made one.
Good thing.
Yeah, good call, because he is in the sequels.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we finally get a kiss. We've been denied for so long because she was too drunk the first time when she was in that, I'm convinced, see-through outfit.
Yeah.
And wasted.
Yeah.
She passed out.
Let them fuck.
And he's a good man.
Let them fuck.
Let them do it on the camels. You get a long journey back. They've got the
do.
perfect little cadence the way they walk.
They're doing cute little couple kisses on the camel.
Humping on the humps.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
And Jonathan's like, I'm right here, guys.
No, stop.
I don't want to see that.
Spitting.
But that is The Mummy from
That's
1999.
Thank you for hanging in there with us. Thank you to all who voted for The Mummy. We're so sorry to the 2 people again who voted for Donnie Darko. Maybe in a future poll.
Yeah,
you never
maybe.
know. Donnie Darko will have its day. I'd love to cover that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Madison, queen of streaming things. So good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
We missed you. We missed you dearly.
Missed you
Miss
guys.
you, Queen.
But thank you to all of our patrons. I hope that you love this episode as much as we love making it. And we want to honor you because you are the reason we're able to do this week by week, keeping the lights on.
Yep.
All the other utilities of the podcast paid. We appreciate you. We love you. That's all the time we have for right now. My name is Chris.
My name's Madison.
And I'm Steve. Death is only the beginning.
And this is Streaming Things. Happy streaming.
Coming on a lot of